And if anyone can have a roll call first, Jolene?
Yep. Commissioner Eggert?
Here.
Commissioner Moorhead?
Here.
Commissioner Herdina?
Here.
Commissioner Geary?
Here.
Commissioner Longworth?
Here.
One absent, and the chair. If you could stand, if you're able, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'll look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Now we're to the point of open forum, and I see we have a couple of people here, so it'd be fun to call them up. First, we have Tara Steenblock. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Your name and address, please.
I'm just gonna move this over so I don't hit the keyboard.
You can rearrange furniture, it's okay.
Is it all right? Okay. Good evening, my name is Tara Steenblock and I live at 1445 Bay Drive in Forest Lake. My home shares a property line with Bayview Park. As you may recall, I was here at the open forum last month where I discussed my concerns with the issues happening between the park and my property. These are not new issues. The former homeowner also came before this commission to express his concerns. While I will not rehash all of the issues, I just briefly remind you the activity at the park is impacting my ability to comfortably enjoy my property. I'm here tonight with a request that has been brought before the commission and approved by the commission in place at that time. I want you to know I also requested on May 5th to be listed on the agenda for tonight, but that request was denied. I'm not sure why, but I will do my best to be on time for you tonight with the 3 minutes that I have available. When I was here last time, I asked for a fence to be placed between the property lines. Since that meeting, I reached out to Kyle and Mr. Adams for an update. Kyle advised me that it is not best practice to put fences up at city parks any longer. I also received an email from Mr. Adams where he stated that he will be reiterating the city's longstanding practice of not installing fences and barriers around the parks in order to keep these public areas open and inviting. In speaking with former Parks commissioners who were part of the Parks Commission going back to 2007, they do not recall ever seeing a document or discussing a policy of this nature. In fact, they said they pushed back against a city staff where they stated they were going to remove the fencing at the newly revamped Belts Park, expressing safety concerns. Furthermore, Mr. Adams advised that I call Forest Lake Police for any issues involving trespassing, people cutting through my yard, and other disturbances each time there is a disturbance of someone coming on my property. I do not feel this is an effective or appropriate use of the Forest Lake Police Department, and increasing their calls for something like this does not seem appropriate, especially when the simple replacement of a barrier that was removed by the city would address the issue at hand. I'm here tonight to try to find a resolution that we all can work on. So I'm coming forward with a recommendation for consideration. I said this last time, and I'm formally stating it again. I would like a replacement of the barrier that was removed way back years ago when Mr. Moore came in front of you. My first choice would be a barrier of trees and shrubs that suitably provides an intermediate barrier to the full property line, not just like a 2-inch small tree, just something that says, this is Tara Steenblock's property and this is the park's property. If the trees and shrubs can't be provided, then please consider a single fence line that is put on the property line that borders my property. Leave the rest of the park open and accessible. If neither of these solutions is going to happen, please help me find a solution that is not advising me to call the police every time a park user is cutting through my yard or on my yard. I'm not asking for special treatment here. I'm simply asking that the city and its representatives follow through on a long-discussed recommendations and take reasonable responsibility for the issue that was created when they removed the original barrier. I'd like to give each of you a document that I prepared, so you could please review it on time that I don't have available or that I was not given tonight, unable to be on the agenda. Would that be okay if I gave that all to you?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I also have a digital copy that I can provide as well with the PDF. if you take that.
Did you get a copy also for the staff?
Yes, I will do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did I give you, because I wanted to? Got it, okay. Give me- There you go.
Well, thank you for providing some written material because it's,
Sure, thank you. I hope that it gives a really nice timeline of way back with when Mr. Moore owned the home. I just bought the home in June of '25, and I just find it so interesting as I don't know Mr. Moore, he didn't know me, and years later, we're coming forth with the same issues. And as I looked through all of the videos that you guys, the lovely videos you guys have of these meetings on YouTube, I was able to just put some history together to help me understand what has happened in the past and just trying to move forward to help me live in my home comfortably. So thank you so much for your time tonight. I really appreciate you hearing me.
thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have, speaking of old time and long time ago, Terry Steenblock. And just for the people that are new here, Terry was the former president, what were you called, president?
I was the chair of this
Chair of
commission,
the-
yep.
Of the commission,
Yep.
and she takes copious notes, so get ready.
So my name is Terry Steenblock. I live at 568 South Shore Drive. And as Commissioner Moore had mentioned, I am the former chair of this commission, and I wanted to come before you tonight to share information in relation to Bayview Park. Your meeting minutes talked about a resident issue, and this was not a new issue. So I wanted to fill you in on the history of this particular issue. The resident of the home on Bay Drive next door to Bayview Park requested a tree trimming in the fall of 2021 because the city shrubs and trees at that time had gotten a little unruly and were causing some damage to his property. Unfortunately, unbeknownst to any of us on the commission or the homeowner, the city removed all the trees and shrubs on that property line. They stated that it was because there was buckthorn within the trees and the shrubs. He was very disappointed because these trees were creating a nice barrier between his property and the park. The resident came forward to our commission meeting, and he was surprised, and he was actually saddened that this had occurred. He was surprised. He said, "I would have never asked for the trees to be trimmed if I would have known this would happen." He said at that meeting that he requested that the shrubs and the trees be replaced, and at that time, the commission asked staff to look into a replacement. So then we go to April 19th of 2022. This commission talked about the residents' concerns at a follow-up to our original requests that we had made to city staff. And city staff opened that conversation with saying that Public Works stands firm on not recommending anything go back at Bayview Park. But there was no reasonable explanation as to why nothing could be put back there. And so at the time, as the commissioner, I went out and met with Mr. Moore, who was the homeowner at that time, and tried to get a better understanding of what he was dealing with in that area. During my visit, I could clearly see that there would definitely be people that were using that yard as either a play area or a cut-through area. During our meeting, I will note that I did bring that forward as well. During that same meeting on April 19th of 2022, we talked about our concern of having our request dismissed and the length of time that this issue had been dragging on. I mean, it had been dragging on for many months at that point. The commission saw this request as a replacement. That was very important to us. It wasn't something new that was being placed there. It was a replacement because there had been something there for many, 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 many years. And we also talked about the frustration. There was a lot of frustration from this commission at that time because, again, we had asked for a recommendation and for city staff to do something, and all we kept getting back was Public Works is adamant that they are not going to put something there, period, nothing more. On May 19th of 2022, Mr. Moore came back to see us on the commission, and at that meeting, he said, I read the April 19 meeting minutes, and he was really concerned that there was no replacement. He said the trees and the shrubs worked perfectly to use his words, they worked terrifically to keep the park in the park and the land on the land, his land on the land. He wanted to know what the objection was and why Public Works refused to replant something. At that time, I told Mr. Moore that we as a commission had similar concerns and that we would be discussing it that evening and make a recommendation on that issue. Mr. Moore at that meeting said he wanted it addressed and he would like to have some input on what would go there as he was looking to regain his privacy and to keep the foot and bike traffic that was now utilizing his yard out. He also advised that he was concerned that over time this problem would become even more problematic, which it has. Because the requests of this commission repeatedly went unheard, we made a motion that evening. That motion was discussed by this commission, and it was unanimously voted in favor of doing. The motion that was made that evening was that the city replace the trees removed by July 21st of 2022. The trees or shrubs are to be selected by city staff based on maintenance, soil condition, and other factors. However, the trees or shrubs must be appropriate size with the potential to grow so that the end result is a reasonable coverage between the park and neighboring residents to be paid by the city with an update provided to this commission at the next meeting. We said reasonable size because the city talked about, at that time, I was a Forest Lake Lion member and we were giving away little seedlings. They said maybe they could get some little seedlings from the Lions and put them there, and that wasn't what would address this issue. We said because of the city's lack of responsiveness, we wanted this on the agenda every month until it was completed. Fast forward to the next meeting we have on July 20th of 2022, and this topic was not on the agenda as we had requested. And one of the commissioners at that time who was not in attendance sent me an email and asked me to address the question of why wasn't this on the agenda and what was the status of this request. I did at that meeting say that I had an email from a commissioner that wasn't there, and if staff didn't address what was in the email, I would bring it forward. That evening, there were 2 Forest Lake staff members who were present at the meeting, and they did provide an update during the staff updates. And what they said was that they were in communication with the resident and with staff resources, and it being the middle of a hot summer, it's not the best time to plant. They said the resident understood this and that they were working on what the planting will be, and they were hoping for it to be done by the fall timeline. They said the resident was working with them. We were told the resident was happy that the city was pursuing it, And they said it is in process, and even though it will not be completed by our July timeframe, it will be completed by the fall because July 1st was a difficult timeframe. That was the end of any discussions by the commission around this topic, and ultimately the commission resigned in October, with this being one of the examples as to why we resigned. We had tried to get simple issues addressed multiple times, and we were disregarded by Public Works. Ironically, shortly after the commission made this motion, city staff started telling the commission we did not have authority and that anything that we recommended had to be brought forward to city council for approval. When it came to this homeowner's issue, nothing was brought forward to city council for approval. City staff chose not to take our motion and vote to city council for a vote, and they intentionally withheld information from city council. Frankly, I believe it's because Public Works did not want to address this issue, and they put us off until the fall, and then the fall never happened. There was no more follow-up on this issue, even though the city publicly committed to resolving it by the fall of 2022 for this homeowner, because there was nobody to hold staff accountable. There was no longer a commission, and city council didn't know about it. In addition to withholding information from the council, they publicly lied to this commission and the homeowners. I think it's important for you to know the history that occurred and that this was something that had already been discussed, received a motion, and was approved unanimously via a vote by this commission at that time. It was to be addressed and remedied by the fall of 2022. Everything I've shared with you this evening is a matter of public record. So anything I've said, you can go back and check to validate. In addition, you have 2 current commission members who were present when this occurred, and they both voted in favor of the motion that was made at that time. I'm sure they can attest to the history, as well as there is another former park commissioner member who is in the audience today who can attest to it as well. You've heard the history, you've received information from the current homeowner that contains additional details and recommendations, and I think it's important for you to be aware of this information. You have 2 homeowners now who didn't know each other who are coming forward with issues. I encourage you to review the materials in the detail that you received, and I request that something be done to implement the commission vote that was made several years ago. This was already to be addressed. And I believe that there needs to be accountability to follow through with these issues. So with that, I will stand. I'll be here if you have any questions, but thank you very much for the time.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
And next, Keith. Welcome, same thing, name and address.
Hello, my name's Keith Coonley. I'm with Let's Go Fishing. I'm at 7841 North Shore Trail in Forest Lake. First of all, I want to thank you for your support in the past. Give you a little update on where we've been in the last 2 months. Thanks for your support. We need wonderful support here. About 6 weeks ago, we put our calendar online for the first time. Our calendar of trips starts June 1st, goes through September 15th about, and we have 10 2-hour trips each week, so roughly about 150 trips for the summer that are planned. We're working through that and getting our guests signed up on that. We're working getting our volunteers together. We started training last week, and we're training our volunteers to have them all trained up by the end of the month, so we're good to go for our first trip on June 1st. So if you step back and look a little bit at our goals for the year, when we first started out, we wanted to get roughly 40 to 50 volunteers signed up for us so we could handle the potential for 150 trips this summer. Right now we're at 56, so we're good there. And looking beyond that, looking at trips, we have, like I said, about 150, so we have 149 trips total. We have 99 booked already. So we're doing good. And then beyond that, then the most important thing for us was how many guests were we going to be able to take out this year. And we thought, it's a first year, so 300, maybe 400 would be a good number, and we're at 780. So thanks again for your support. It's going very well. And we'd welcome you to all come out. We're welcome to have you on the boat at some point during the summer, whenever you can make it. We'd prefer that you sign up soon in case we do get fully booked. And if you do get online or get on the boat with us, I just ask that you behave and don't fall overboard. If you do, we're going to throw you one of these. And the unfortunate thing is you'll go on record as the first person ever in the history of Let's Go Fishing that needed a throw ring. So please come along, behave. The good news is, in honor of your support,
Look at that.
you see this.
Nice. Very nice.
So that's where we are today. Come and join us. We'd love to have you.
Well, you've done
Thank you.
fantastic work with that, and the numbers are really great.
Yeah, a lot of support from the community.
Nice. And is it June 6th, 3rd?
June
4th?
June 1st is the first trip, 9 a.m.
It's going to be the maiden mission?
That will be the inaugural trip.
Okay, well, we look forward to it.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions for him?
Nope.
I let the previous speaker go on a little bit because they did have, they thought they were going to have an opportunity, not they, but the first speaker, to be on the agenda, and it didn't kind of work out that way, so went a little bit long on the beginning, but I think it's good information for especially the new members to have as far as the history, so we will move on, and then we might discuss it later on. There's a
Yeah,
discussion.
we'll go over some. I was planning on bringing that back up on the updates for Bayview Park. And
Okay,
since I
this-
wasn't here the last commission meeting, there was some stuff that was brought up that Kyle wasn't able to answer, so I was planning on answering a lot of that.
Okay.
So it still will be on the agenda?
Correct, yep, it'll be
Okay.
on the agenda at number 10 for Bayview Park, or 11.
Great. Now we need to approve the meeting minutes from April 15th, 2026, Park and Recreation meeting. Does anyone have a correction or a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, and we have a guest maybe from Shelander Woods. Is that next on the agenda?
Give me a second to get set up here. Oh, that was flawless. I wish that happened at planning commission meetings. So good evening, commissioners. Tonight we're looking at Shelander Woods concept plan, and this is from Twin Cities Land Development. This item is not a final approval, and there's no final park dedication decision being made tonight. The purpose is to have an early discussion about how this future development should address park dedication before the applicant prepares a formal preliminary plat application. Staff is looking for preliminary feedback on whether we should direct the applicant toward a West Side Park dedication or trail open space connection, or whether cash in lieu may be more appropriate if usable parkland cannot be provided. The main theme tonight is whether any proposed park dedication land is usable, needed, and well located for the city's park system. Shelander Woods is a proposed 25-lot single-family development on about 35 acres west of Harrow Avenue and south of Chestnut Creek. That road direction that goes north that you see on the screen there runs straight into Chestnut Creek Phase 1. That cul-de-sac you see in the northwest corner is connected to a future connection through the Havenwood development that used to be considered Chestnut Creek Phase 2. The property is zoned MXR1, which is the city's mixed residential district intended for low to medium density residential development. It allows a mix of housing types, including single-family detached homes, single-family attached homes, and public parks, subject to applicable development standards. The concept also includes future roadway connections, sidewalks, and preservation of wetland areas on both sides of the site. Again, this is still early in the process. The question tonight is not whether the development is approved. The question is what park dedication direction staff should carry forward. City code generally requires this type of residential subdivision to dedicate 10% of the net area for park, trail, playground, or open space purposes. For this concept, the applicant identifies about 21 net acres, which would result in about 2.1 acres of park dedication. The map on this slide helps explain why staff's preliminary estimate, if you notice on the slide, is lower. It is a little busy, but the main point is that this shows the extent of wetland buffers and stormwater limitations on the parcel. The orange line, and I'll mess up with my good luck with technology. The orange line you see around here generally shows the area that appears to have been excluded from the applicant's net area calculation. Staff then looked at additional areas that may also be excludable under the Met Council's revised net density guidance, including wetland buffers and stormwater ponds. We have worked to identify additional land, and these red that extend out farther to be able to show what is excluded from our density requirements according to the Met Council. These additional areas are generally showed by that red line. Using that broader approach, staff's preliminary net developable acre or area estimate is about 11.45 acres, which would result in about 1.15 acres of park dedication. This is still very conceptual. The final calculation will be determined during preliminary plat review once the applicant submits more detailed plans and staff can verify the final wetland boundaries, buffers, stormwater areas, and overall site layout. So I know there's a number of people who are relatively new to this commission, so I just wanted to have a quick run through of how the code looks at park dedication. The city's park dedication requirements are in Chapter 152, Sections 152.090 through 152.094 of the subdivision regulations. Under those sections, the city can require land dedication, cash in lieu of land, or a combination of both. The code also requires the city to make an individualized determination, meaning the dedication or fee needs to be connected and proportional to the need created by the subdivision. If cash in lieu is used, the city's 2026 fee schedule identifies a park dedication fee of $2,500 per residential lot. For this concept, with 25 proposed lots, that would create a preliminary cash in lieu estimate of $62,500. That number is helpful for discussion tonight, but the final amount would still be confirmed through preliminary plat review through the city's individualized park dedication review. For tonight's discussion, staff is translating the code requirements into 3 plain language questions. I want to be clear. This is not because we think the commission needs simple words. It is because I do. Code is easier to work with when we can translate it from the legalese into simple English. So the 3 questions are, first, is the land usable? That ties back to the code language about the suitability of the land for its intended purpose. Second, is the land needed? That ties back to the code language about the city's needs for park, playground, trail, or public open space to meet the additional need of the development being proposed. And third, is the land well located? That ties back to the code language saying the city determines the location and configuration of any land dedication. So on the next few slides, when staff talks about whether land is usable, needed, and well located, this is just a simpler way to explain the code-based review. So a simple Floridian should understand it. That's me, I'm a Floridian, I can understand it. The applicant has identified about 3.36 acres on the east side of the site near Harrow Avenue. Looking at that through the same framework, staff has concerns with this location. On usability, the main concerns are the slope of the land and the possibility of some of this area being needed in the future if Harrow Avenue is ever widened. So even though the acreage looks significant, it may not all function well as usable parkland. On need, the development does create park demand. The question is whether the east side location is the best way to meet that demand. And on location, this area is separated from the Amberley Woods dedication and the larger Four Corners Park opportunity to the west. Staff is not saying the east side has no value. It may provide open space value, but staff does not see it as a preferred primary park dedication location. This slide shows the larger Four Corners Park opportunity. The green area shows the approximate extent of the Amberley Woods Park dedication. The blue area shows where staff would like the applicant to explore a west side park dedication, open space area, or trail connection within Shelander Woods. The orange areas are purely conceptual and are included for reference. They show where future dedications could help expand the park area over time if those properties develop. Using the same framework, the blue area on the west side of the Shelander property appears stronger from a park planning standpoint. On usability, we still need more detail. Wetlands, wetland buffers, and stormwater areas may limit how much of the west can actually function as usable parkland. On need, the west side better supports the larger Four Corners Park concept and helps build toward a more connected park area. And on location, it is better positioned to connect Shelander Woods to the Amberley Woods Park dedication. So staff is not saying the west side automatically satisfies the park dedication requirement. Staff is saying it is a better place to explore first. This is the decision point for tonight. Staff is asking whether the commission agrees that future plans should prioritize park dedication that is usable, needed, and well located. Based on what we know today, the west side appears to be the better place to explore first because it may connect Shelander Woods to the Amberley Woods Park dedication and the larger Four Corners Park opportunity. But there may be limitations. Wetlands, buffers, and stormwater areas may reduce how much usable upland is actually available. So the direction staff is looking for is this. Should we tell the applicant to explore the west side first, either for usable parkland or a trail open space connection? If that does not work, staff would recommend cash in lieu rather than accepting the east side area as the primary dedication, unless the applicant can show that the east side land better meets the usable, needed, and well-located framework. Even if cash in lieu becomes the preferred option, staff would still want the applicant to identify whether some type of future connection toward Amberley Woods can be preserved. The suggested motion is intended to give staff clear direction without making a final park dedication decision tonight. It tells the applicant that the city is interested in the west side opportunity first. It also makes clear that any land dedication needs to be usable, needed, and well located. If that cannot be achieved, then cash in lieu is preferred over accepting land that is isolated, constrained, and not needed as the primary park dedication. So this concludes this overview. A representative of the applicant is here tonight and can help answer questions you may have. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't right now. Anybody else have any questions?
I mean, I'm just thinking about this as a whole, living in Chestnut Creek, knowing what all meets and what not, right? And so I agree. I think the east side wetland area. What's coming to me in my brain as I'm putting what is gonna go in phase 2, that's gonna be my recommendation for this. We're gonna bring in 25 more homes, not knowing what we're already getting in phase 2. I need to know that information before I can give you this information on a new development that's gonna back up to this one, and then as well as give a recommendation to put the wetland buffer on the east side, which isn't gonna be usable space at all, for an additional 25 homes coming in addition to 120 homes coming in. That's
So-
just my initial thought.
Yeah, and I recognize the history of Chestnut Creek Phase 2. The final plat for Havenwood now, as it's called, has now been phased. It's 61 residences in this Phase 1, and per direction that came out of the city council late last year, if you recall, 3 lots have been set aside for park dedication, and the developer is working to program that park. So what the kind of the silver lining with it phasing is that as we go forward with phase 2 for the rest of that Havenwood development, there will be a further park dedication as it relates to that. So and staff's very, very preliminary view is that we should be looking at additional neighborhood park space there rather than cash and lieu to meet that demand for that much larger complex. That said, this Amberley, this Four Corners Park is designed to be more of the destination space for that development, any future development to be able to go there. Part of that Havenwood development is utilizing that Greystone connection that would be completed when it's done, so there'll be more than one way in and one way out of your neighborhood, ma'am. That Greystone connection would be a very easy connection to make to this park space, especially safer. You're not having to navigate Harrow to be able to communicate those things. So looking at this holistically, being able to have those neighborhood parks that you could just like jump over to in the neighborhood, but having the more expansive park space, however that's programmed, however that's funded going forward, is more of the final destination for this area to be able to have something that they can utilize for much larger uses than perhaps a playground and a pickleball court.
Absolutely, and I just think we need to keep that in mind when we're making all of these decisions for Amberley Woods and phase 2 and phase 3, right? It's not easy to vote on one ding when we don't have the full picture.
Yeah.
We need all of it to be able to say, yes, we can move forward with this. If we don't have an answer and a vision, how to, that's where my discrepancy comes in, is we vote on these things, but we don't have a full picture. Well, until we have a full picture to make sure that it's all gonna flow, I know there's plans and specs and all the things out and about. And so, again, I'm just making sure it's gonna be usable space. We're gonna put it somewhere that's gonna make sense
knowing the plans that have been approved at the end of the year last year moving forward.
And I think to that point, I can't agree with you more, especially as we're looking at the developments of this Four Corner Park, being able to have a rough understanding of what this would look like from a city perspective, so we're not making a connection between developments that would bisect the park and rob it of functionality. I absolutely agree with that. We need to be looking at this area holistically, and I know that there's a Parks Master Plan that's in development, that's in drafting. So I hope that document, I'm not trying to give Dave additional work, but I hope that document is looking at some of this area holistically, at least pointing staff in a direction of this is what we need so that we can best plan. Because after the discussion last year, it is clear as day that there is a gap, a desert of parkland in this area that needs to be a priority, especially of the community development team, to be able to look at and make sure that we're communicating that need. And I think Shelander Woods, the way that we're looking at holistically, and the success that we've had with Amberley Woods, especially with the same developer, is very positive that we're getting to a place that you will see the fruits of the labor that your neighborhood, communicated last year that we heard loud and clear.
Thank you. Awesome.
So will the park, the Four Corners Park, will that be within this 10-minute walking that we're trying to accomplish
That is
for
the plan. Yeah, that is the plan, especially
So
this is.
for this particular, if you built in this housing development here, you'd be able to walk to that park within about 10 minutes.
I think that is absolutely the plan across the board, is to make this regional. And if you look at the current park plan, this is the site of one of those area parks that have the circles on the map that say this is where we need to focus on. That's the goal. I can't say that it won't be 15 minutes or 20 minutes for some, but it would still be a lot closer than having to hop in a car and drive somewhere.
I think you probably understand the problems we've had before, and we certainly don't want those to come back and haunt us, that someone has promised something and then it doesn't show up, and then we have all this, we have to make sure that, but I'm looking at the west side, to me, makes more sense
Me too.
than the east side, and I don't know if that's all anyone else has any ideas, but is that the recommendation you're asking us to give?
Do you have GIS on or do you want me to plug in?
I mean,
Want me to give you a better idea where this is and then where that Havenwood Park's gonna be?
says, we got 14.
Not the only
We
map.
should only, we have 7 extra over what we.
Yeah, I'm with you. I tried to develop all the maps, yeah.
So to me, if you're gonna be building,
When you're looking at it all day, it makes
Phase
total
two, it's
sense,
gonna
but
be a
to
park.
see it
Oh, I gotcha.
in-
Yeah.
take the cash in lieu, honestly.
We should bring that up.
I'm just looking at our Parks Master Plan draft that we have, and we're 7 heavy on playgrounds over what we would be on a national average per capita. So I'm just wondering if Chestnut is gonna have a park, or it's slated to have 3 lots for a park, when does that go in, when does that development start for phase
That
2?
development, that would be one of the first, that's a requirement of the final plat approval that's coming to council on Tuesday for Havenwood, is that as a part of that development, that park would be
Built.
ready to go and programmed. Now, one thing I want to caveat that is that we're working closely with the developer. They have bids out for how that park will be programmed, but nothing's been finalized yet. But still, we can't say this is exactly what's going in, but they have to meet certain requirements for us to release to approve their ability to be able to start building.
That's on Tuesday, you said?
Tuesday, yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Do you know by any chance, is there green space? Because we were just talking about the extra, and if we're gonna have one in phase 2, with that area that we already have picked up for phase 2 in the park, is there a green space and not just a playground?
Oh, and you're saying in the 3.
The New Haven one.
Oh, yeah, it's, there's not much space. It's a half an acre.
Okay.
Yeah, so it really is a place to kind of like go to, more localized.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what's been offered, and that was what the condition of approval from the council with the preliminary plat.
So just for reference, here, you see my pointer?
Yeah.
Right here is the 3 lots of where the park in Havenwood's gonna go. Or those 3 lots right there. So this road will go all the way up. These roads will go to Grace to 207th. This is Amberley Woods. This is Shelander. So you will have a park
Yeah.
right here. And we're more trying to get this park to be trails, passive park, in this wooded area, and then down here where there's no trees to have playground, possible soccer field, baseball field, something like that. So that is kind of the point of trying to get as much of this 4 corners as possible to tie this all together, to tie walking trails even around these ponds, and then make that so you have a passive park where there's maybe disc golf or mountain biking or anything like that, but then still in that same park, there's other things like a playground. So like Steven said, a more of a destination. Come here and there's a bunch of things to do versus just a playground. So that has kind of been that vision of trying to get as much acreage out of these 4 corners by getting your park dedication out of these 4 plats to get as big of a park as possible instead of 4 little tiny parks inside the actual development. And then to your question, what Havenwood will look like, the best example is Eagle Bluff Park. That's basically 3 city lots. And we sent the developers at Havenwood standards for a neighborhood park, which includes playground for a 2 to 5, 5 to 12, walking paths, landscaping. So it's basically would be something like this, a playground with a container, some walking paths, and then as much green space as possible. I believe we asked for a pavilion too, or some type of a shade structure for picnic tables. So they have that guidance, and it's basically the 3 lots, what that is in acreage, plus then the rest of the park dedication would be used to program that park. The developer would actually build that park. It may take the dollars from, like Steven said, phase 2 to be able to complete it all, but they haven't come back with any design work or anything like that yet, so.
Well, again, promises made, promises kept, I hope.
Yeah, I agree. And this is, they're a developer if you remember, Chestnut Creek 2, when it came, D.R. Horton was a developer. Since then, it's transitioned to Twin Cities land development, and this isn't an indication of any good or bad. Both of them are fantastic, but our experience with Twin Cities is they've been a wonderful partner to work with and open to a lot of flexibilities that we've thrown at them.
Any more questions? So what you're looking for is a recommendation just as far as the west side rather than the east side?
Yes, ma'am. We want to be able to provide feedback. In the concept phase is simply to provide feedback to the developer to inform the preliminary plat, and our recommendation is to let's look at the west side rather than work through the east side property.
Will you pull that picture back up for us again?
Me?
If you wouldn't mind, the one where it shows the wetland, was that on the east side or the west side, where the land dedication was for the park? The east side?
The current one? Or you're saying for Havenwood or Shelander?
Yeah.
Let's see if this is
Yeah, there we
is
go.
this the one you're talking about?
Yep,
Yeah.
so this is on the east side, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's what they're proposing, and you guys
Yeah.
are suggesting west side, so you can hook up the 4 corners.
Really, I want to see if you can see this here. I think one of our big issues is if you could see all these contour lines on top of each other
Yeah.
right here. It's very steep. It may be a good sledding hill if there weren't 50-mile-per-hour cars going by.
That's fun.
Yeah, maybe at a different time.
I agree with the left side.
Would you
The
like to make,
west side.
would you like to make
Yes,
that?
the
West
west
side?
side, just because if they're all gonna connect like that, that's gonna make sense to me. There's no point to take park dedication and put it in a wetland, down a hill, 50 miles an hour for these kids, right? What does that do for us?
Yeah. So one concern that we have, and this is, comes out of discussions that we've had with Public Works and our city engineer, this is very wet. So we're asking the developer to look and see if there's enough upland to piece together, but at the very least, having some sort of unimproved trail that would connect this development to Amberley for exactly as Dave said, that for mountain bike trail running through a forest, actually in Forest Lake, those kinds of activities, but be that connection.
It's something that's needed as well for that
I
kind of activity.
I agree.
Are you ready to make a motion to that effect, that they would look to the west side?
Sure. Yeah, a
On
motion.
your screen. It's on your screen, the motion.
Motion to provide advisory feedback that future preliminary plans for Shelander Woods prioritize review of a west side park dedication or trail open space connection to Amberley Woods. Determine whether sufficient usable upland exists to satisfy park dedication requirements, and if suitable, usable parkland cannot be provided, pursue cash in lieu rather than accepting the proposed east side area as the preliminary park dedication.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now we get to move down to everyone's good idea, dog park.
Oh, man, if you guys get a dog park,
Hey, thank you.
we hear it at the planning commission too.
I tell you, and we've got,
Lord be with you.
and the dogs to follow.
Oh, yeah.
I hear it all the time, and I'm just really pleased that, we had a lot of conversation, but that, again, we're seeing action, that the city has come up with 3 different plots that I'm sure Dave will probably talk about.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like Commissioner Moorhead said, dog parks next on the agenda. The commission gave staff some direction, I believe it was in March. We sent you, or gave you some possibilities where dog parks could be. Staff, or the commission had staff go and when you want to take a look at these areas and come up with some pros and cons, actually walk the sites. So myself, Kyle, and our Parks foreman walked all 3 of these sites, or 4 of these sites, over the last month or so after the snow melted. So this is kind of a culmination of walking through and pros and cons put together. Kyle also put these pictures in a PowerPoint because he said Karen always yells at him for the pictures not being big enough.
Tell you about my eye surgery later. I think you did a great job of explaining and coming up with some very good ideas, so I'm anxious to hear the presentation.
So the first one that we looked at was that area right south of Fenway Fields. That was that 12 and a half acres there. That's a zoomed in. So this is kind of in relation to where it is in the city.
Is that wooded?
Yep, that's that. Pretty much all of this is a wooded area.
So you'd have to take down trees to have the park?
Yep.
But we have to leave some for the shade.
The biggest thing that we noticed is right off of this area where we originally kind of thought where this could be a parking lot for the dog park is probably a 15 to 20 foot drop off. You can't see this in the aerial, but as soon as this road ends, it steeply drops off into this low area. So the biggest challenge there to even get a parking area there would probably be estimated about $250,000 by the time you filled it all in and did that fill and probably had a wetland delineation and all that work. We walked this entire forest. We are definitely keeping this in mind, kind of like the Amberley Woods that we just discussed. This would make a great walking trail or BMX area or disc golf or something. There's a couple low areas, but I mean, there is some already kind of cut through trails where people have been using it that it wouldn't take a heck of a lot of work to try to do something. We don't want to do anything right now. We got other stuff we're looking into, but we definitely keep this on our mind for when we have ideas of things we want to do to add amenities to the city, that this would be a great site for that. The only problem is we still don't have parking. We have to try to figure that out.
Dog park would require a good amount of parking
Yep.
too.
Kyle had a good point, and Fenway expansion is in the CIP in the future, like in the late 20s, early 30s, that you could explore that parking lot being expanded down this way, where then you could tie this into that. So, but it's definitely a very good area for something to happen there, just not recommended for a dog park. And to Aaron's point too, there'd be a lot of clearing to even get some open space.
Water was available at this site, though?
There's water right at the end of the cul-de-sac, so you'd have a water service right there.
Yeah.
There's just some pictures, even these pictures are, until you're there, you can't kind of appreciate how steep that drop-off is. But
Is that the drop, why didn't we notice the drop-off part?
from the aerial, it just looks flat, right? So
Yeah,
you
you
don't
can't
really
see it
notice
from
it
the-
until you're actually walking through there, how far that drops off. Even there, you can see it, but when you're standing on the bottom, like where that tree is there, you can't see the road from there. It's
Bummer.
steep.
Got the dandelions, though.
Second area we looked at was Bixby Park. So this is that highlighted in this map here. This is on the northwest part of the town, kind of by the North Water Tower up there, Cedar Park, that area. Here's a zoomed in areas of what we looked at. The pros of this is that you do have parking available at Cedar, and you would have parking out here. There's a pretty big flat area. I think Kyle has a picture. So once you get back into this wooded area right here, it opens up to pretty flat land. This is where Public Works stores snow in the wintertime. So,
And this is the area also that we had looked at way back when Bolton Mink did another study,
correct.
and we found out in that particular area at that time was, again, wetland.
Yep.
Does
So,
this take care of that situation?
interestingly enough, we did notice this, is according to a person who's worked a long time at Public Works, they actually went and tilled up this area to make a dog park, and then they realized that was wetland, and they shouldn't have been in there to be tilling up the land. So
That's exactly when it died, too. It
Yeah,
never was
but-
brought up again, and we have,
if it wasn't wetland, this is completely flat it's probably, well, it'd be this, it was like this whole area was disced up and plowed.
Oh my gosh.
But it is wetland, so you can't go out there.
so that one won't even be viable?
It's the other thing is the closest water is here, so it's about 1,500 feet to get there, which is probably at $20 a year, but probably $30,000-$40,000 just to get water there.
So again, I mean, that was designated at one time. There isn't any area that is in that area, but no wetland, because that's really all unused area out there.
Yep.
It was going to be quite nice, never happened, but.
Yep. There's some,
If
and those
we
are some of the cons. There's no water. It is kind of set back, which is a good thing too. You're right against the freeway where you're not really bothering anybody. It's just, you'd have to open up this road that's right now is just closed to the public. And we have a gate across it that, we don't allow traffic, so you'd have to improve that road a bit to make it usable and all that.
Well, Dave, could they just drill a well? I realize city water's nice, but could you just drill a well there?
Be another expense of probably $10,000 to $15,000 to drill a well. I mean, there's water available, the ponds and stuff like that, but it's just a con, right? I mean, either way, it's gonna be an expense to have water for the dogs. It is a good point about a well too, but I mean, either way, it's not right there, so.
Nice
The,
spot.
the cons for this one, that kind of were identified, it's kind of far out of the middle of the city, so it's kind of far in the northwest corner. That was a con, that it's not kind of more centralized to where the city is now and where future expansion's kind of happening. So that was a con, but it was brought up that there are areas here around the water tower that are smaller areas that could be a good idea for an additional dog park in the future, where you added a smaller one, like maybe a half-acre park that you could have next to Cedar Park where, yep, a little more of a miniature dog park. I don't think this would be the one where you want the bigger one, but if you were to expand additional to have something up in this part of town, there is, you know, areas right up in here next to the dog park, or next to the water tower, that are some open flat area that you could fence off.
And that's great to look ahead, but we haven't even got one yet.
Yep,
So
yep, no, it's just one of those we
I
keep in the
know.
back of our mind, so if it, in the future, but I think staff would recommend this isn't probably the best spot for it right now. Third one we looked at was Southview Park. That is highlighted right there. That's right by like the McCullough Storage. If you drive down 61, that's kind of right behind that in the Southview neighborhood.
that one's hard to get into. It's hard to find the entrance to that area, but it's really, again, a not used area that should
Yep.
be used for something.
Yeah.
So we walked this area all even through here. There's a bunch of already pre-made trails that either residents or somebody are maintaining. There's walking trails that come through here, a bridge, and then a bunch of loopbacks and trails through here. And then this is one big wide green space where there used to be a playground. Probably remember it was taken down in right when I first started. I think it was just dilapidated and was removed.
Nobody played on it.
Yep. So there's an area here that could be used for possible parking, which is in this area. And there's also identified areas, if you came through this road, you could have a parking lot here as well.
How about water?
Yep. So this is a picture of that open space. It's pretty nice. The only drawback is there is no shade currently there. That would be part of maybe some of the expenses is planting some trees, or actually getting a spade and putting bigger sized trees in there, so you didn't end up with a 2-footer that would take 40 years to get some shade there, that you'd spend a little more money on bigger, more older trees, the word I'm looking for. Mature.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe we can get money by combining the other trees we need for the park. next to the park.
Yep. I think that it'd be either way you'd like to do it, it'd just be an expense to get some type of shade here. If you were to put it here and fence this area, you'd have to definitely provide some type of, there is no natural shade, that you'd have to put something there.
And this is out of the flight path of the airport?
Correct, yep. Here's a picture of some of those trails through there. The cons on this, go back to here, this is the entrance right now, or over here. If you're gonna have a parking lot, you'd be driving in between two current houses, which would be kind of difficult. I know, say if this were to be selected as the preferred and you had an open house, I definitely would guarantee you to hear pushback or some concerns from those two residents. There is parking here on street, or you could have like a bump out on the road that you could have parking, but then you would have to have them walk all the way through there to get to that dog park. So that is kind of one of the drawbacks of just where would you park, and if you did park down here on this south side, you'd have to have them come between those two houses. So that was a major con there.
So would you
It's gonna
fence
be
in this
forever
whole
lives there.
area? I mean, the open space is nice for a dog park, but so are all those trails. Like,
Yep.
that's really, so it would all be fenced, but then that would be the open area would be down where that.
And as a homeowner.
Yep, so that it would be thought of as that this would be the actual fenced off, and it would probably be fenced in 3 different separate areas where you'd have small dog, big dog, and then a quiet area where the grass can grow back, so you just, every month you'd rotate so you don't just completely kill the grass. And then this would just stay open. It'd be where you could walk your dogs through there. I mean, I don't think you could fence that whole entire thing off, that'd be quite
So
expensive, but.
the dogs would have to be on leashes and the rest of the park.
Correct, yep.
Okay.
So it'd be a fenced in the Grafton area, and then this would be on leash walking through the rest of the park.
Okay.
I think there is water available just out of the picture here, that you could get a water service over there. I think this is a great site, just the drawback of the parking and that opportunity to get in there would be going between two houses, and it'd be just,
Is there
if I lived there, it'd be kind of just, especially if it's a popular park, there'd be cars coming in all day long.
Is there any other way that we can make an entrance to that?
I was gonna say, could we talk to McCullough's and somehow figure out how to connect to one of these parking lots, like down here at the bottom, if you come in, I know they have fences and stuff, but
Yeah, it'd be tough. I mean, it's secure storage where the storage is, and then it's their
Yeah.
secure yard for well drilling.
Yeah.
I mean, you could give him a call, but I don't think he would say sure. Bunch of hole in there.
Like a dog park.
Yeah.
Yes, private little area.
I don't know, the only thing for me that I'm really struggling with is you are backed right up to houses.
But
And
they're
if I
further
bought a
back.
house there and then all of a sudden now I've got dogs barking all the time and
Yep.
lots of people, I might be a frustrated person paying taxes for my property.
Yep.
Those
No,
houses-
that's definitely a concern. And we were out there too, and now with the leaves growing, you can't see any of the houses, which, I mean, it's
Way back.
screened outward, but the dogs, yes, the barking part. And like I said, if it was select, you'd definitely have an open house and you'd
Can
you'd
you,
hear all
can
that
you,
feedback, but.
can you come in through the north end? I can't tell if that's wetland there.
You can come in, but there's a creek that runs, you can see it start right here, and then it runs right through here. There's a bridge, a walking bridge right in this area. And this is all lowland, so you really couldn't build a road through there.
I'm talking about like off 61, that's 61, right?
Yeah.
But off 61, that
Here?
corner, could you come in through there off 61 and put a
Oh.
parking lot right there?
This is all one big wetland.
All wetland.
And then a storm pipe coming right out of here to drain this whole wetland.
And just to go back to the dogs barking, in the research that I've been doing, you don't have a lot of barking dogs. It's amazing, but they're just running around and they're not angry at anybody. They're not barking at anything. Just what I heard from
Right.
people that live by them.
That is true. They're
But the
happy.
houses are way back there. I'm worried because we're getting down to the next one.
So,
So, go back to the picture, the aerial that showed McCullough.
yep,
Do they own, so we're seeing this in the south end of the storage facility. You're right, yeah, right where your cursor is. Do they own beyond that black mark, or is that somebody else's property?
the black mark right going up and down here.
Yep, so just going south, so when you go south, is that owned by McCullough also, or not?
Correct,
Huh?
correct, yep.
So could you get an easement off of 61 through that property back to the proposed dog park?
You'd have to try to build a road through the ditch and get some kind of an entrance and somehow move all their fence lines and.
Oh, that's not open, I guess I was just wondering if that was open ground to the south of that black line.
Right here?
Yeah.
This is all, the 61 ditch, so it's usually standing water in there. I mean, that's standing water in there right
Oh.
now.
What's to the east? Like towards that corner where you would come in through the neighborhood, but from the south side? Because I see
This is,
colleagues, but what's that? Yeah, right where you're pointing.
this is Shadow Creek Estates, so that's those townhomes.
they're the new ones, Lennar, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Where am I?
Oh, gosh.
This is all storm pond.
Yep.
That was put in part of their stormwater requirements, so you couldn't, there's a trail that's gonna be constructed, that's gonna come across right here, you can kinda see that. A walking trail that will come behind and connect with 202 trail, but be no way to drive vehicles through there.
Boy, that little entrance between those two houses, you couldn't get cars past each other right there at the beginning, could
Yeah.
you?
I mean,
It's 30
also-
feet, so you would be able to, but it's, I mean, I don't think you'd wanna build a road right to the property lines.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of traffic coming and going all the time.
The fourth option is Karen's favorite.
Yeah, Karen is, and the commission, so I don't even know why we're going there. This commission, we've got to start listening to each other. Nobody liked this site.
Yes, agreed.
Yep.
So here it
Let me
is,
say you.
It's on the list because it was still on the list, the public works site. We went through all the pros and cons of this before. The bigger con right now is the question mark of when public works would get built, you know, so it could be, it's definitely would not be a dog park in 2027, 2028
That
or
one's
beyond.
out.
So
That one's
it
cool.
has all the other things you would need, water, parking, you know, trees, open space, all that, but it's just,
That could be our
if it-
future one if we're gonna have two.
if the goal is to have a dog park in 27, this would not be one you'd want to select.
Can you go back to the first one again? That one right here. It's just got a lot of goodness to it as well. It's the drop-off that you're talking about?
The drop off, the clearing out of some type of area for a fenced-in area, and then, yeah, no parking. I mean, we're budgeted $100,000 to put in a dog park, and that wouldn't get you close to be able to get parking lot. The problem is there's a trail that comes through here, so you can't get rid of this trail, because this trail winds around, so you'd have to build a parking lot somehow off of that, or shift the trail somewhere to be able to get to it.
And again, how many spots are you thinking? I mean, the dog park is not gonna have a convention and bring their friends. They're gonna be in and out. One, you know, I don't think we're looking at a huge parking lot.
Yep. I guess that would be, I mean, I think the thought was you'd probably want about 10 parking spots.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yep.
And I just had a light bulb go off.
Yes, good.
Okay. Follow me here. The community school, the old Southwest,
Oh,
there's a lot of space there that does not get used.
It's going to.
That's school property, though.
yeah.
And
belongs
it's
to the
gonna
school.
be disc golf and a lot of stuff for outside.
Our kids can't even play football there without breaking an ankle. So we have a lot of work to do. But there's a lot of, is this all school, Dave? Like there's a bunch of, that connects to Schumacher. Is that all school? That whole quarter
Yes.
there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, well then never mind.
Same kind of thought. I drove by Summerfield Park off of Fenway.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
in the mix of, you know, the
Hey,
townhomes,
that's a
but
good
right along
idea.
Fenway. There's a lot of space there.
Yeah.
You know, there's not shade, but I think there might be a shade structure there.
You
And
could put a couple big.
as a
mature
quickie
trees there.
remedy, put some fencing in and, I don't know,
That's a,
I noticed it when I drove by. I thought,
Yes.
geez,
that's a good one.
And
Worth
we've got
exploring.
several parks that have nothing
I know.
in them.
Let's use
It's
that.
like, how do you
yeah.
pop those up into,
Right, into a dog park.
Yeah.
See, I always thought about that spot, so it would be 8th Avenue and Fourth.
Yep.
And there's a stop sign there. You can go, if you go to the north, you're going on South Shore. If you go to the south, there's an old vacant, it's a park.
Shady, isn't that shady or windy something?
Something, and, you know, I mean, there used to be kids that take their bicycles back in there and whatever else.
They wrecked that park. We had it all set, and I'm sure that you'd remember. And it was gonna be a walking,
Yeah,
very quiet, no
Yeah.
kids in that neighborhood to speak of, and St. Peter's playground close enough. So it was gonna be bird feeders and walking trail, and Boy Scouts or somebody even put a trail through there with the wood chips. And then the bikers came in there and decided they didn't have a spot, so they would take that spot. I don't know now if you're talking about people, that's kind of right in the middle.
yeah, so you
Of
have,
people.
off of 11th
I know.
Avenue at 4th Street, you go back and there's a cul-de-sac and they've got some duplexes there. But then behind that, and then continuing north to 8th Avenue, you know,
To
it's
drive over there and look at.
it's a space in between houses and it's significantly wide and
Certainly has trees,
It has trees,
but
yeah.
I don't know where water is.
Yeah, I suppose Summerfield Park,
Well, what about by Dinosaur Park? There's a bunch of land over there.
Well,
behind
that's the
Culver.
first one.
Yeah,
that's what the
that was-
wetland.
That's that
thing
one that
is,
was
yeah.
up top, yeah.
Got it.
I still think
Yeah,
that one we'd have to
1,500
look at a
feet
little
to
closer
run
because
water.
that was already identified. It's not too far south or north or whatever you said it was.
You think these
It's in a
dogs
really
fit
good
into the
spot.
wetland?
Can you tie into can you tie into that water tower by Cedar Park? 'Cause you said 1,500 feet. How hard is it to
Punch a
put a
spigot
trench
there.
in and tie into it?
Bixby Park.
I don't know what I don't know, but, I mean, you got water tower right there.
Just screw a faucet into
Yeah.
it.
No, you tie in, yeah, you tie into the water main and just bore a service over there.
So, I mean, is that 1,500 feet from that water tower, and that's what you were saying would be the water run?
Yep. So,
And there's parking by the dinosaur park in that first area where nobody
Yes.
never parks. I mean, there's just a wide open. Going
We
back,
had water in the parking lot, near the parking lot. Yeah, but you
so this is the closest water.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I guess it doesn't have to be the full acreage that. What is
I
that
mean,
one?
most people that are going to dog parks have water bottles. They fill it up and bring it with or something. If you're gonna make a premier park, I guess it needs to be in there.
yeah, it was one of the
I mean,
highlights.
Karen's point, I mean, this was identified as dog park a long time ago. You're not gonna bother anybody out in this area.
Right.
Well, I mean, when you look at all of the options that you presented to us, that's the one that's not going near people's houses, not
It's a
running a
shade.
road between two houses that didn't have people driving through all the time. Just, I'm thinking
And truthfully, I
pushback
mean,
from community with putting that in there. That's the best spot right there.
if you think about Battle Creek Dog Park over in St. Paul, they have wetland in there, they have the ponds and all the things, right? So, I mean, having a little wetland, if you're gonna bring a dog to the water park, or the dog park, excuse me, and the water, it might be nice to have some of the wetland on 110-degree days. You know, I'm just trying to pull out devil's advocate here, where it might help us sway one way or the other.
And it's close enough to downtown, so you're still kind of,
You're
Oh,
right.
City
I don't think,
center.
yeah, it's not as far out, I don't think, as the one that
Yeah.
the city wanted. It was way at the end of the environmental center. Doesn't even seem like it's in Forest Lake. But, you know, I think just my opinion, I think we should pursue this again because I really liked
I like
Fenway
this area too.
better, but if it's not gonna be, I have to go and look at the drop-off thing. My first choice now would be this one.
yeah.
It's gonna cost something no matter where we put it, so we gotta get the cost out of our mind. To some extent.
So do we want
Figure out
to,
what the price is, and then we start talking to these activists about putting their money where their mouth is, hitting the streets and collecting some up
The
for
price,
water.
the price of, for getting water out there?
Yeah.
Because that's your main concern is the water, right? Everything else.
If
is-
water, if you want water at the dog park, I mean, like
all you
a
need is
spigot or
one.
something like that available, yes, then you would either need to
But
drill a well or a sandpoint well or,
I was gonna say, couldn't they just do a sand point? I mean, if all you need is water to water
It's
your
just-
dog or something.
I mean, where's the water table at here?
well, it's a wetland, so.
Right,
below
so
the
I
grass.
mean,
Right
I mean,
under
what's
the
the
grass.
cost to put in like a sand well?
put a sump
They're
pump
not
out
quite
there?
as expensive, you know, it's just the only thing is it's not filtered domestic water, so it's, but I mean,
But I
that's just-
mean, that's gonna be the bulk of the cost, because you've got trees, you've got
Yep.
shade, you got that, and you got the fence that you gotta put up.
You gotta park close. in
But I
case the
mean,
kids-
You got
that's,
it parked close enough for the
Yeah,
kids
kids
to
can
go,
run.
and the dogs can
Dogs
go.
can run. Let's do it. Let's just write it up. You got consensus here.
What are we trying to do here, Dave? Are we trying to make a
trying to
recommendation
zero
on
in
the
on
spot
a-
that we think, or what are you asking us to do?
I think part of it was if you're leaning toward one or another, or if you want us to try to look at additional spots. The other, and Don is not here tonight, but he also brought up a park tour this summer. Kyle's been working with Jolene to try to get that going. I think the next step would probably be, let's all go out there as
Yeah.
one of our stops. You know, the plan would be to, let's stop at Bayview, let's look at Manor Park, let's look at, name your other parks that maybe the next upcoming projects that are coming up, and then let's stop out here so everybody can see what this looks like in person, and then maybe throw out ideas, right?
Let's try and plan for before the June meeting, we go do this park review, just so that we don't keep kicking it down,
Yeah.
right? That was in March, so we're already gonna be in June.
The park tour?
Yeah.
That would be part of, like, that would be a commission meeting.
It would be part and parcel with the meeting, so we would
we do
start
it
the
on
meeting
the
here,
June.
then we would all head out to the different parks that we want to explore and observe, and then come back here to wrap up the meeting.
And why does it have to be that way? We've taken
Do
tours
we
before.
start early? or
And there's a
something?
lot of parks to see, so I mean,
There's, what, 25 parks?
Well, we're
It
not gonna
doesn't get
see all
dark
of
till
them. We're
late.
just- He said we're gonna look at the upcoming ones that are needing to be updated in the plan. So we'd see maybe a couple, 3 to 5 parks, and then this place, not look at all of them.
We should
We'd have
probably,
to start at 7 AM and it'd be.
well, yeah, they're talking about the
stay.
park tour, and I know Don wants all the parks.
Well, we do need to look at them all,
Yeah.
because we don't know the condition of them all.
Rick,
Nobody
we don't
knows
need to
what they
move for this. We had consensus on this one, and I'm just wondering, we couldn't surprise Kyle when he came back and said, you know what? You guys did a great job picking out the parks that may be good, and then we did a great job picking out the one that's really good. I just don't see any sense in a park tour. I thought the park tour was to give the new people a sense to see all of the new parks, or all of the parks, period. It wasn't to pick a dog park.
I think looking at all the parks as commissioner, you can drive around and look at the ones you want. I think we want to just focus on projects that have been done, future projects, and then on, you know, current projects. You know, and then it'd be plan of an annual park tour to look at, okay, let's go and look at the park that was done last year. Let's look at the park that's being done this year. Let's look at the one that's proposed for next year. You know, kind of just, so you have you kind of stagger that. So when we talk at budget season, like October, and hey, we're gonna be redoing this park, we've all been there, we've all looked at it, we all know what's going on. Plus then we've seen the one that's just been completed and onward like that.
Are all those going to be taking in place of a meeting?
Yes, that would be that would be your meeting, is looking at those 3-4 places.
We'll schedule a happy hour.
So.
I think you're gonna wanna come,
On
I
our
think you
own.
wanna go out to the site to see it, and I also think you're gonna wanna go out there in June and July when there's mosquito season, because that's, I don't wanna rain on your parade, Karen,
And
but I
dogs
mean,
don't mind mosquitoes.
the people who are bringing them there might, so I
Yeah,
just
but-
think you wanna make, before we bless this as the park, I think it'd just be wise for everybody to go out there and look at that.
Wow. We
I-
can go
I
on
would
our
like to
own. I
walk
mean,
I would like to, personally, I would like to visit it and see.
how many have not seen this area by the dinosaur park?
I've never walked in it.
But
I've
you-
seen it, I mean, I've looked at it with my eyes, the vast field, but not walk there. I mean, I could go do that on my own. I get
I tell you, it's May, we have plenty of time to, because if it's a 2027 project, we wouldn't be building this project until a year from now. So we don't have to make this decision and go with it, because we still have 12 months to decide, come up with a concept plan, get all the estimates, make sure it's all kosher. So I don't think we need to speed through this. Because you're still gonna wanna have an open house too, or something about, here's what the Parks Commission wants to do for a dog park, and you're gonna wanna, either you have an on-site open house, or you have, you know, people weigh in on that.
Not a commission vote? You're not gonna have people weigh in on, you can't open this up to the community and have them come from all aspects of the city and have an idea of what they want. Wouldn't we just make a decision and then go out to the public and explain?
You can definitely do that as well. You can make a recommendation.
One option to look at and give their feedback.
You can make a recommendation to council that that's what you wanna do and what you wanna do, and
I would say
go that
it's
way as well.
place to go.
But I still would strongly urge that we still go and look at it before we make that recommendation to council,
Yeah.
that that's where it
Because I
goes.
think that one where we have to drive between the houses, somebody is definitely gonna,
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
once
that's
you
right.
have community
Yeah.
engagement,
That
whoever
one's
lives
been-
where you're wanting to put that stuff at is gonna
but I
not be a
think that
happy
this one
person.
is just, it's near the freeway, it's near the
Yeah, it's,
Dinosaur Park. It makes no sense.
There's no houses
Dave.
right there, and at the same time, I get it about the mosquitoes and all the things, but you know what? The people that are bringing their dogs to the dog park are aware, they're outside, they're in nature, here's this, here's that, that's what they're going there for. And that's just, I don't bring my dogs to the dog park, I don't wanna deal with all that, mine are little yippers and so forth, so they
No
stay
yippers
home.
allowed.
Right.
Get a vending machine that sells off.
There you go.
Mosquito repellents.
Dave, did you hear the discussion up here? Are there any parks that are not, that don't have like structures in them, that we're not really using the space for, that would be a
Well, that's
potential
another
dog
reason I
park?
wanted to do the park tour, so that we can literally, I mean, and again, it doesn't have to be one of our meetings, right? The 7 of us can get together, get in a vehicle.
But not have any
No.
discussion
Commissioner,
about this. just so
Commissioner,
you know.
can I just note that we want to make sure that we're observant of Minnesota's open meeting law, so we should not have the commission all just get together, please.
Please don't do that.
Please don't do that. Make sure you connect with us so we can post proper notice, if that's going to happen.
I mean, because we've got several parks that are just green space, nothing in them. Like, what options do we have from those as well?
I think the one was touched on is Summerfield, but I would urge that you just get rid of that green space too and make it a dog park, because Summerfield's coming up in 2 years for master planning that for a park that you may want to decide
Well, I mean-
different amenities that go in there as well.
And usually those parks that are empty are round houses that they're going to have parks, or they want open space so they can do the frisbee golf and that kind of thing. I think, and we have to move on, I'm sure. We move on to make a decision. I mean, we have to move on. And I think individually, we can all go over there and look at this area and come up with an idea. And even by the June meeting then, as a group, individually, we'd say, I was out there and I liked it, I hated it. I liked it and I thought of July and I still liked it. And, but I think you have a spot that was made for it before. Everybody liked it then. You've got a group here that, we all pretty much agree that we got a good spot. Doesn't have to be made tonight that it's the spot, but my goodness, I just don't like to have a spot so popular and so useful that we just say we have lots of months yet.
Yep, so I guess the recommendation or what we'd be looking for is probably eliminating the other 3 sites that you're geared towards the Bixby area. And then is the plan that commissioners on their own will go and look at this area and then staff to start preparing some type of a concept or cost for how that open area would look?
I would agree with that.
Great job.
And then come back in June with those costs, and then by June, if the commission went out there and took a look at it and see if that's the spot they want to go forward with, or recommends or direct staff to look at additional spots. So basically just hold on that spot and come up with some concepts and costs while the commission takes a look at it between now and the next meeting.
Sounds
Does that
good.
sound right?
Everybody's shaking their head, looks good.
We need to say that, or did you just say that?
I heard you, so we're good on that one. You said yes to what I said.
Don't need a second, huh?
Well, next we have the Parkland dedication. Again, Dave Adams.
Yep, so the Parks Master Plan, as we're updating that, in that master plan, it says that the city of Forest Lake's looking at about 9.9 acres per 1,000 residents. As we're going through the master plan, that recommendation is for cities, between 10,000 and 20,000 people. The Forest Lake is starting to get that in-between spot where we're over 20, and so more in the 20 to 50,000 bracket. Inside that, that recommendation falls between 11.2 and 12.9 acres per 1,000 people. So what we're looking for, and in the meantime, in the master plan, Bolton and Mink is also doing a study on what we charge for park dedication. Right now, it's either $2,500 per unit or fair market value of what that acreage would be. Bolton Mink is doing that study to see what other cities are doing, and if fair market value or 2,500 is in line. So an important part of that is knowing how many acres per 1,000 we want to need. So when Stephen comes your next time, that'll be a part of that decision, is we need X amount of acres to try to keep in line with our acres per 1,000, plus we need X amount of dollars to do what we want to do. So really, Bolton Inc. needs this number to put in the master plan. It was just noticed that it was low. So, staff is recommending that we would go on the high end of that we would try to make it a goal that we'd want to get 12.9 acres of parkland per 1,000 people. If there's, any opinions from, comments from the commission to lower that or have a lower number, I mean, that is great, but we're just looking for a recommendation to bring back to Josh and Bolton Inc. to put that in the master plan and pick that number to put in there. Any questions on that?
You say 12 acres per 1,000?
12.9.
12.9 acres per 1,000 residents.
Right now, it's 9.9, so it's raising it by 3. I like it.
It
because
makes
I
sense
think
to go on the
more-
higher end.
We live up here to be in the forest a bit, Forest Lake. I like it,
As good as it sounds.
That includes trails and things like that as well,
yeah,
into that acreage.
I like that.
Trails don't get combined in that acreage, so it'd just be usable parkland.
It was kind of in the middle section, and we didn't go to the very highest.
Yeah, I think that would be, that's why staff's recommended. I think you'd have your goal to get as much parkland as possible, because once you give away the land, you're never getting it back. So, if we want to preserve park space, if it's just an open field, it's at least park space, then, I think that's the goal of staff and the Parks Commission, is try to get as much parkland as possible while still letting development happen.
Do you need a motion on that, or just consensus?
Yep, it's in bold in the recommendation, just recommending adopting the upper threshold of 12.9 acres per 1,000 residents.
I make the recommendation, I move, staff recommends adopting the upper threshold of 12.9 acres per 1,000 residents.
I second.
Any more discussion? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
So this number will then be included in the Parks Master Plan that's planned to come back in July for recommendation for adoption. So that number will be updated in there in that master plan.
Castlewood fence.
Castlewood fence, so I think it was the beginning of this year, or at the end of last year, the disrepair of that fence, that split rail fence. I think there's pictures in here as well.
The one
Right.
along 97?
Along 97. These pictures are actually after Public Works bought a bunch of pieces and kind of put parts of it back together after the winter. But I just drove by it this afternoon, and then there's already 2 spots already fell back out again. So I can't remember which, I think it was Don that kind of recommended staff to go and look for some costs, what that would cost to repair or replace that fence. Kyle went and got some quotes, and basically it's pretty close to the same amount, whether you did a cyclone fence or a cedar split rail fence. Obviously, there's benefits and pros and cons to both. Cyclone fence will last a lot longer than a cedar, but the cedar one looks just more aesthetically pleasing along the golf course.
Could you give me a reason why we had the fence there, and there, we're talking about fences not by parks, and now we have a long fence. It looks beautiful, but is that what it's for, because it looks beautiful?
Yep, so Public Works removed all the other fence along the entire golf course, around all the buildings, all the townhomes, around the rest of the golf course, even down Harrow, but it, Foursome Golf asked to keep that one there to keep snowmobiles off of the 9th green.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a snowmobile trail along there, and that's the barrier, so they didn't want the snowmobiles getting into the course like that.
So fences do work.
Well, no, you have people with their golf carts and dogs
Oh,
and
I know,
everything else.
I know.
It's not just the snowmobilers.
And besides, aesthetically, it looks
Yep.
great. I was
And
thinking,
that's why option number 3 is just removing it completely. I mean, the reason why that one didn't get removed with everything else is because Foursome Golf asked to keep that one up for that fact. But there is 3 options that, be staff time to take it down, and then it would just be open there too, as the rest of the courses.
Isn't there, is there no fear of the highway being so close that, I don't know, I don't golf, so I don't know how much you run around.
The golf balls don't care. They'll go right on the go. They'll go right on the
But
highway.
if somebody runs after their golf course, their golf ball, I don't know.
Really, it's looking for, this isn't funded. This would be in the 2027 budget. So it'd be a recommendation, even this recommendation wouldn't be that we seek council approval to build this in 27 or 26. It'd be something that would be included in the proposed budget for 27. So it's, if it were number 1 or 2 were recommended, that you wouldn't see that until 27 if approved by the council, because it's not a budgeted amount in any CIP. It'd be an additional add-on.
Will you tell me one more time who recommended leaving that there and say it's slower for me? Leaving the fence there?
The golf course operator.
Golf course, yeah.
Or the group that runs the golf
When
course.
they took the
They
other
can
sections
put one
down.
up, right?
Well,
That's not on us?
yeah, not-
It's a city park, so.
The city.
and it's a big asset to us.
At that point, it was,
Don't see that the fence does anything. I
Yep.
live across the street and I watch 15 times a day.
But it gives the snowmobilers something to stay away
That's-
from.
Yeah, that's the
So it
initial.
keeps them off the golf course and keeps them in the ditch. Whereas if you didn't have the rail fence there, they're gonna go up and run on the golf course.
Can you lay hay bales in the
I was
wintertime?
gonna say, the only caveat
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
I-
say there is, you guys, honest to God, again, we've had 6 inches of snow. There haven't been snowmobilers. So a lot of this damage cannot be done by the snowmobilers on hole 9. I've never seen one in 10 years.
Well, probably the fence did.
And all the things. So I have a hard time spending $22,000 on a new fence when I don't see snowmobilers, a ton of them going through there. And a second off, it's not the snowmobilers, it's the golf carts, it's the people that live on the golf course, it's people walking their dogs, riding their bikes, all the things. It's not just snowmobilers. So I have a hard time with just snowmobilers.
Well, I think there's a safety thing too. I mean, my preference would be to go to the chain link fence and the cedar, because there's kind of a safety thing there too. I mean, it provides a clear, defined line where you don't go past. Snowmobiles, back in the day, we used to snowmobile there all the time, before they put the fence up. And I can see, the minute that you get 6 inches of snow, snowmobiles they're out.
Right.
So, they may not be on the golf course, but if the opportunity's there.
Yeah.
So you're asking us now to take the fence down, but you're also saying that it can be put back up later?
No, he's giving us options.
Well, that was the third option.
Recommend the
That's
city.
the third
options are
option,
chain
just take it
link,
down.
Cedar, take it down.
Right.
if the option was take it down, we would take it down this summer, and then it would be done. Seasonals would help Public Works, and it would be done and taken down,
So you wouldn't.
pending council approval. If you recommended taking it down, it would go to a city council meeting with the same topic, with your recommendation of just removing it. Either, if it's recommended for one of the option 1 or 2, it would be included in the budget for discussion that way.
Yeah, we
If
have
it
to
was
ask
for
them to
number
put the money in
3,
the
it would
budget.
go to a council agenda item as, does the council agree that we should remove this? And then it would just be taken down by staff.
And stay down.
Correct.
So,
So it would just be included in operations. So there'd be no cost of taking that down. It would just be staff time of removing it and then just getting rid of the wood.
Always let it be removed and then see what happens.
Scary. I think it's kind of scary not having a fence there. I don't know.
well, it's
guess
like we
we'll
said,
see.
we wanted the
Yeah.
fence to stay up at Belts and it came down.
Well.
Talk about a safety item.
Yeah.
That was another one. So personally, it's such an asset that we have. I think aesthetically, it looks really nice to have it there. But that's a lot of money to put up a fence. Maybe Foursome could be in on part of it. I don't know.
So we own the golf course. They just operate it. So all the capital infrastructures are irrigation systems. That's why, as you recall, the irrigation system too, we own
Yeah,
we own the property and we own all the capital buildings and all that, so the fence is something that we have to maintain.
So if we recommend the city put it in the budget next year, we'd just go from there.
Yep, then you just wait to see how that budget shaked out, and if it was approved, I think we'd probably put it in for right around that amount for a discussion of what actually should go in there after that. I don't think you'd want to go in the weeds of should it be a split rail or a chain link fence during budget discussions. It'd just be replacing of that fence.
I don't know how to say that. That's what I think I would like to do is, instead of taking it down, making a decision to take it down, pick one of the other two and put it back to them for the budget and see if they
So
can fit
move
it in.
to Have it added to the
If they
budget.
can't, it might have to come down later, but I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. Anyone, again, you want you want a motion for the recommendation?
Recommendation of one of the three options.
I don't know. Last time we spent a lot of money on the golf course, it was social media craziness,
What was that?
the money that
Well,
came from COVID.
And the fence is kind of a
People were-
different,
And they're all
Very
there
upset.
using
That's because
it.
of that new dumb building.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I'd be more with you to replace and enhance and all the things.
yeah,
But looking at it, to me, this is not a fence.
yeah.
This is a
right.
couple sticks of wood with a couple things going across.
Yeah.
I mean, even look at Forest Hills Golf Course, it's the same exact thing. There's half of the things that are down, one's hanging in, one's hanging down, half of them don't have them. To me, this is not a beautiful fence.
I mean, can the city in the wintertime put up some of that orange fence that they use for
Yeah.
snow and just install that in the wintertime
Across
to
that
be that
one
natural hedge, you know, and then we're not stuck every 20 years spending $20,000-$30,000 on new wood fence.
Yep, that's definitely a possibility. I can't remember if that's an actual dedicated snowmobile trail or not.
It is, because there's stop
In the
signs.
ditch.
If it is, then, I don't know if you've seen it other places, that they will flag stuff off until, you know, like you see farm fields and stuff where you tell the snowmobile club that, can you, at least, you know, they string it off and put flags on it that do not enter. So you might even be able to not have to even put a snow fence up, that they would work with the city to, you know,
I just think $20,000 when we're looking potentially be spending a lot more on irrigation for something that really,
I don't know. I'd rather
there's a lot cheaper alternatives to mark that space of do not go through here.
Snow dogs.
How much of the irrigation system would that fix? Some of it, part of it.
half of a
Half a green.
Half of one hole you use.
Well, we had a lot of discussion. Anyone ready to make a motion for one of them?
I think we take it down and look for
Is
alternatives.
that
Make
a
the
motion?
motion. Somebody.
Yeah,
I'm just saying what I'm thinking.
Well,
You know.
Is everybody else of the same?
we
I was
have
gonna
to
say,
make a motion
yeah,
and then see.
make your motion based on that, taking the fence down
Yeah.
and putting up a snow fence or talking to the snowmobile club, maybe they'd come out and flag it or
Yeah.
something.
You know, the other thing I
So
kind of wonder about is, you know, those people in golf carts, they can get kind of rowdy sometimes. We don't want them going up the ditch and, I don't know.
I get nervous. There's people that
Yeah.
have their dogs attached to those golf carts.
Oh.
I mean, sometimes, you guys should see the things I see.
gosh.
Makes me,
It's because they don't have a dog park. They have to run around that golf course.
see on Mulberry Street.
Well, I think we should get a motion here and see where it goes.
I think we should
Some will go
make
for it and some will go against it, but let's see how it goes.
If we could make a motion to put the money in the budget, and then if we don't spend it, we don't spend it.
Party. Party.
Yeah. You know, at least we'd get the money in the budget, and then the decision can be made.
Is that your motion? Would that fit to 1, 2, or 3?
That would be,
making a motion to recommend dollars be included to
do
put in a new fence in the 2027 budget, yep.
That's your motion?
there's no specific offense yet.
Somebody's got to actually say, is it their motion?
That's
Your motion.
I make a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, we got
Did
somewhere.
you get the motion, what it was? Okay.
A motion to put installing a new fence at Castlewood Golf Course in 2027 budget. To put it in the budget for
Put it in
2027.
the budget, yeah.
See if it stays there. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Aye. I'm gonna
Did
go
I
with
hear
opposed. Yep, uh-oh.
Oh, gosh.
It's 4-3. No, you're a
We
no.
don't have a.
3-3.
then we do.
The motion would fail then.
Yeah.
Would anyone like to
No.
make a second motion?
Well, I'd like the motion that we remove the fence and look for alternative marking for the snowmobile trail.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
And then whatever that alternative is what you'd have to request for budget, right?
Any more questions or discussion? All
So
in,
Dave, I don't know, like, if you put up like that orange fence, if the city had to put up orange fencing.
You'll have to buy the fencing.
Does $22,000 cover that amount? So I mean, you could put it in the budget and then you get the money at least budgeted, you figure out what you're gonna do.
Yeah,
That's
the orange
taken,
fence would be significantly less than that. I think we probably have 5,000 feet of it in a shed right now. So I don't think it would even cost that if we had to go that route. I think you would first talk to the snowmobile club to see if they would do that, but if worst case scenario, that, I don't think that would be a budgeted cost. It would be what we already have for material.
And if the fence gets removed and it is a terrible idea, 3 years from now, the commission at that time can revisit and put money into the budget to put it back.
Sure.
all right, well, we have a budget.
like
We
we
have a
need to.
motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed? Aye.
Oh, there.
Just like to be, no.
So this was also asked at the city council level, so this will be brought up as an agenda item at a future council meeting to discuss the same exact thing, and then they'll provide recommendation from this commission of what they would like to see done with that
Be
fence.
interesting to see what the council says.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, moving on, number 11, park project updates, Manor, Bayview, and discussion by Dave Adams.
So let's do Manor Park first. I don't know if you've been by it lately at all, but nothing's in there yet. We've been back and forth with the contractor. They're the same ones who did the Veterans Memorial, the Sentinels there, and they delayed the project for that project as well because those Sentinels didn't show up until the spring. The last promise I got was last week saying that it'll be put up in mid-June.
June?
So they were supposed to have that installed by no later than October 31st, and now we're almost close to a full year of getting that installed.
A question on that, are we gonna keep them on the list?
They weren't on the list. They weren't on the list for this year when you decided for Bayview Park. If you noticed, they were not on there.
But I
For
did
their
ask-
performance for this and performance for the Veterans Memorial, we didn't think that that was a wise idea to keep having them give ideas until they can kind of finish off some of their other projects.
I did ask at the time, is there any mechanism in place to punish or get money back or do something when it's clearly way overdue? And the answer I got was you have to go through the legal, and there is something you can do because they have not followed through on their contract. I didn't really understand what it was that you could do legally, but have we thought of doing any of that?
I mean, you could, it's usually set for bigger projects, road projects, developments, things like that. I mean, you could have them take out a performance bond or you could go after liquidated damages, but that's also gonna raise the price of your projects because they're gonna have to get these bondings and get this, type of, you can hold payment. I mean, the contractor keeps citing, supply issues, so you can either say that's true or not true, but, I think the goal of everybody just wants that park that they selected in, and if you start getting into the legal part of it, then sure they're gonna stop building it, and then you have that issue as well.
So are we gonna let June just come and go too, or can we tell them that after June there will be something done?
So what their biggest issue was is they have the concrete parts done, but they put like the climbing structures or like the actual playground. If you've been to Cedar Park, they have the concrete, but then you kind of have the playground that's built into that. That the supplier that they originally picked kept giving them the wrong stuff to put in there, that it wasn't fitting in what they had designed. And they finally got the second or third time from them, and they finally just switched manufacturers. This is according to Play It, that they switched in April to a different manufacturer, that they're supposed to get this stuff the week of next week, the actual material, install it, and then bring it on site.
Let's
So
hope it happens.
I think what they were building, like the fish and all that stuff, is built and done. It's, putting all the other stuff in there that they were getting from a different contractor.
Right.
Okay,
So that's a little disappointing, but the mulch guy is all lined up. He said as soon as it goes in, he'll be in there that same week and fabricate and get the mulch in, and it'll be open. So it's just waiting on that.
Gotcha.
okay. Just
Bayview, what?
Just a discussion, we didn't have to do anything.
Nope. No, Bayview Park, I'll just give the update for the project first before we go back to all the other things. I saw you approved the Northland Rec. I wasn't here the last time, so we have that signed with Northland Rec. They're ordering the playground, so that's in motion. We signed the contract with the rubber mulch and the perimeter. I heard questions about that, about the cost, and bringing that in. It's 10 feet, or $10 per square foot for rubber mulch, and it's right around $25 a square foot for pour in place. So you're talking 2.5 times. I know the recommendation was to ask council for money, but there is no money, and the parks budget is out of money too. So I think we just have to stay within that range of that budget. There's always options to put pour in place over top of rubber mulch. So that is an option in the future where the Parks Fund gets, additional funds, or we're sitting on available dollars where you can maybe do pour in place around the 2 to 5 year old or the 0 to 2 year old to add some of that in those areas. That's an option, but it would have completely blown that budget. So we're trying to stay within that money that we're being allotted by the budget every year to keep doing these projects, and we don't want to start buying down next year's project after we kind of approved a project another time, so.
No, we picked the, kind of the middle of the range.
Yep.
Where we stand at with budget for that park.
So the budget, if you read the agenda last year, it totaled everything up, it was approximately about $410,000 out of the budget at $450. So we're, without any change orders or any issues, we're about $40,000 under the budget, so which is really
That's
good.
been approved, right?
Correct, yep. So
Can that remaining 40K go to fixing our issue with the fence line or tree line?
So that was the other option. I talked to the basketball guys who were going to do the court and add the hoops, and he's providing a quote for putting a fence behind the backboards. I heard that at the last council meeting about the basketballs rolling and hitting our fence. I don't think we want to put a double fence up along, a fence between her fence and that fence, that maybe keeping it up by the backboard, so when they miss the shot and the rebounds and all that, that it would just hit the fence and stay right in that court. So I'm waiting to get a quote back for that, of what that would cost, but I think that would definitely stay within that budget. I mean, it's probably a few $1,000s to add that in.
Now, does that fix the problem of people walking through the property?
No.
But
I mean, that's why I'm asking.
I see
because-
what you're saying, like there's an additional, if there's money left over from that, could we not use that money to replace or think about the shrubbery or something to go on that line?
And just like, even if it's hedges or
Well,
stuff
that's
that
what I
grows
mean.
to
We
8, 10
could
feet.
do a really good job and make a nice fence in that area
Like it
for
was,
$5,000.
like it was before.
Less than that, yes.
And we're not
I
putting
mean,
anything new, but replacing what was there before
Yeah.
would easily be done with that extra money.
If it's-
If we were thinking of something new, it's a whole different thing. But I do remember all those conversations where that poor gentleman was promised and waited and promised and waited. and it never happened. And so to have that still sitting out there as a problem with community and just right judgment, because it was there, took it down, it's a problem, we should put it back up.
Well, we're redoing the park too right now. There's
Right.
no better time than to do
Right.
it and fix it than right now. We're waiting for that to come in. It really, I mean, I do it at my own house, right? And so we can go get arborvitaes halfway decent size right now up at Home Depot for less than $100. Throw 15 of them in there, throw in some shrubs on each end. Everyone's happy. It
When the
can't be that
problem's solved, the
complicated for
problem
us
is
to
solved.
make this right.
Yep.
Problem is solved.
So we can get into that. I was just finishing the update of the playground. So we're working with the contractor to get blacktop lined up. We have the contractor lined up to remove the playground on August 3rd, followed by the contractor coming to put the ribbon in. Blacktop will be done middle of August, all ready for the playground to be installed right after Labor Day. So the Northland Rec has the green light that it will be all prepped and ready for them to do installation right after Labor Day. So hopefully it goes a lot better than Manor Park. I know Northland Rec was the one who did belts, and that went great as far as timeline. So, but other than everything else is lined up, and we should be right on schedule for doing that project.
So,
So that's the update for that. So now we can get back to all the other stuff. Watched a lot of it, so there's a couple missing pieces, there's a lot to unpack. Jolene hopefully can help me unpack some more of the stuff. Going back historically, it went back far enough, but originally when the park was built, Bill Moore was at that Parks Commission asking for a border when it was built, and they did not put the border in there as well. So the border that he's calling a border was never a border. It was just overgrowth of buckthorn and trees that were still left over from, I believe it was the liquor store, right? The Bayview. So that's just one historical thing to point out. There's a lot of stuff that happened in between there, and then the timeline ended at 2022. City staff met with Bill Moore in 2023 and went over this whole thing. And the first suggestion was that he could plant stuff in his yard just to that point of arborvitaes, go and put them in your yard. If you want a border, you're more than welcome to do whatever you want in your yard to screen that, but the city does not want to put it back in their yards and have them maintain that fence.
there again, you just said the city didn't want to put it in again.
Correct. So we met with him, and we had told him that the city was not going to be putting anything back in this area, that if he chose to put anything back in there, that would be, him to do. That decision was not appealed, and that was considered closed. He met with the administrator, myself, and Abby Whitman, the community development director at that point. So
I don't remember it that way at all. I just
you
remember that
because
there
that's
was
your
there was a
history ended
board-
when the commission disbanded, but that happened after that point. So that happened in 2023. So I'm just clearing that up, that the city staff did not meet with Bill Moore. The city staff did meet with Bill Moore in 2023 and did tell him that we are not putting it back in, and he did not appeal that decision. He was sent a letter. So what I'm saying is that
I have to-
if he's feeding him information to the current property owner that was nothing was rectified, it was dealt with the administrator and staff.
What I remember, and Tim can maybe help me, there was no new owner then. And so all of the things that we met with Mr. Moore were his concerns. It had nothing to do with the next person. And the concern was that there was a barrier before, and the city took it down. I don't care whose trees they were, Bayviews or Buckhorn or whatever they were. It was there, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And that's when the trouble starts coming. And so again, I say, I don't care what kind of trees they were, there was a barrier. And for the city to just say, sorry, you can put it on your yard, we're not gonna put it where it belongs. And then he has to pay for it. I just think if we have money left over from this, that we should redo what was there, and everybody's happy. And
And just one more clarification, just to put that in there, when we did cut those trees down, Bill Moore was there when staff was there cutting these trees down in the buckthorn. And Bill Moore also let us drive in his yard to get to these trees to cut them down. So,
There's no argument there, but he
yep,
thought they were
but
coming back.
what I'm saying is, he was there when we were cutting the trees down and let us go in there to get to the trees to cut them down. And then the following commission meeting, he comes and says that he didn't know this was gonna happen, that this, all of a sudden, all the trees were gone. So,
And I can clear that up, because what he expected was the bad, I don't know what buckhorn looks like. I didn't,
The garbage. yeah.
and so what he
Taken
was
out.
saying, that was gonna be
the
done.
buckthorn was the stuff wrapped around the power pole and in the front.
That's
There was
thorny.
ash trees and box elders that were the trees that we removed.
I just
The ash
remember
trees, we just had a, Tara called over the winter and had us remove another tree because the last tree there died. So, I mean, they were all gonna die anyway, they got removed. And as you see with any other park, we do not put trees along property lines anymore for this exact
Tell
reason
me
where
another park where you took one down and then wouldn't put one up.
we put a bunch of trees back in Bayview, but we put them on the other side of the playground and put up about 10 maples and a bunch of crab apples.
I'm just saying, in that particular area, what area did you take a tree down for whatever reason on any park and then said, we're not gonna put it back?
Because we would not put it back right on a property line because we don't want to run into the same issue of these trees growing into a fence or over top of a property owner's house, so we don't have to come back in there and cut them down again and then have to have them come to the commission meeting and saying that we cut these trees down. So what we do is we put them in the middle of the parking lot, along right-of-ways, way offset off of property lines, so we don't have to have these issues. The same reason why when we put trees down the road or have a development come in, we do not let them put it in the right-of-way, so we don't have these issues with trees, because trees always cause problems.
I don't think all trees do, but many trees do.
So this is kind of a unique situation because the house is right there.
I mean,
Correct.
when we did cooling camp, the resident came there and complained about a porta potty sitting right there with nothing blocking it, and it's like, it wasn't there before, it wasn't like that when I bought the house, right? And now it's like this. I get the city's position, we don't wanna have to maintain and stuff like that. Is there another option besides trees, like a fence? Or something that is a clear barrier that protects the property owner from people cutting through their property all the time? Because the answer to be told, just call the police every time someone's walking through my yard, it's not really
Well, that,
a good answer.
and that was in reference when she was here at the council meeting saying that people were peeking over a fence. I was saying that you don't need to come to a Parks Commission meeting to say kids are peeking over your fence. The Parks Commission can't do anything for you other than say you should probably call the police department. And even if you put a fence up, what is that, I mean, you know what, that was what I was referencing to for that last one, that if kids are peeking over your fence, the Parks Commission can't do anything about it. No matter what you do, if a kid wants to jump over your fence, the Parks Commission can't do anything about that.
I think I heard clearly that that wasn't the only reason. The reason was the balls coming over, kids going over to get them, the walking through, there was a lot more to it. But I go right back to, we can talk about that all we want, but I go right back to, it was there, it's gone, it's caused problems, put it back. You have money left over from the project. There'd be hard pressed for me to tell the citizen that, yeah, we had the money, but we just didn't want to do that. The trees are trouble, and that's just my opinion. I think, and I've lived with this one for a long time, so I probably have a little stronger opinion than others.
Madam
But-
Chair, if I can, just momentarily here. So I want to make it clear, it sounds to me, my understanding of the money allocated for this project, what is left over is contingency. It wouldn't be responsible right now to make a recommendation for city council to move to allocate that money for other things that are not, that's for change orders, for things that might come up as a problem in this park project. Now, what this commission could do is could make a recommendation that the city council have staff look at this situation and bring back to the city council or perhaps the commission for further recommendation a potential solution or just research based on true historical documentation associated with this issue. This seems to be a bit of an emotional issue. Ms. Steenblock and Ms. Steenblock have a family connection, so there's a little bit of emotion involved, so we want to make sure that we're not making emotional decisions in this, but we're basing this on factual information based on the record and based on the city's past practices as well. So I would encourage this commission, if they would like to see further action on this, to make a recommendation to city council to direct staff to do some background research on this and to bring forward recommendations. And I just want to make clear that back in 2022, the former commission did make a motion directing staff to plant trees and to create a new barrier. Unfortunately, that commission did not have the authority to make that decision. Commissions who act in an advisory capacity cannot make directives towards staff, and nor can they allocate the spending of money. They can only make recommendations so that the governing body can make those directives.
Jolene, we know that 100% clear.
How do we make,
It didn't get to the city council, and that's the problem.
It did not, it did not.
yeah,
so
how do
there
we
was
make
a-
sure it's on the docket? You know?
Well, that's what I was gonna say, make sure that it comes back, the recommendation comes back to this council. I don't want it going back to the city so that we don't know what happened.
Correct.
So that would be phenomenal if we could
Yeah.
do that, just so we could know what our options are.
Absolutely. So I would encourage this commission then to make a motion.
Okay, I would like to make a motion that the city does a review of the historical information as well a site visit to see what kind of options do we have so that we can rectify the issues that have been brought forth by the resident at this home.
Second.
Any more discussion? My discussion would be, whose historical recollection are we gonna have here? Because
Well, there's city
it was
record.
very
Right, it's-
clear that there should have been something put back there. Now, it didn't go to the council, so it died there. I don't want that to happen again. This is just goes on and on. So I don't know if it's
A friendly amendment.
Tim
yeah,
seconded
friendly
the motion.
amendment,
Yep.
that the strong recommendation is that the city replace the trees or the shrub that was there in the beginning and let it up to them if they're gonna do it or not. But I would like the strong recommendation to come from here, not to go back and look at historical stuff. I mean, we were
It
handed,
can be stuff that's low maintenance. Let's make it no maintenance for the city, right? I don't want it to be a maintenance item. Let's not make it so that it's something that they have to continually come and do. You know, because we don't need that either. We don't need to be a bunch of labor and all the things. We don't need to have hedge bushes unless somebody's gonna go out there and articulately cut them down and all the things, because that's the next problem that's gonna come about, is who's gonna maintain it? Well, if we do arborvitae's or,
Yeah,
you know, trees like that, you don't have to maintain them.
Yeah.
Put them as the barrier, they're there, it's done.
Okay, Madam Chair, can I just clarify here because we're kind of getting a little sideways? So there was a motion to make a recommendation that city council directs staff to do some background research to bring back information about the record that was previously established related to this request by the former commission. And then there was a second to that motion. There was a friendly amendment to that motion. And the chair's friendly amendment included that the recommendation be that a barrier or a border is installed. Is that correct? And I did not hear a second to that friendly amendment.
I just want to amend that, though. I did say also a review of the area, like a site
review of the area.
If there's any recommendations the city can have on what could be done.
Okay, so is there a second then
Is there-
to that friendly amendment to include that information, that the recommendation also includes proposals for a barrier?
Yeah,
Strong
Tim just
proposal.
seconded, yeah.
Yep, 10 seconds.
Okay, and Tim was the second on that?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So the next council meeting is
The next
Tuesday?
council meeting is on Tuesday, and I can tell you, I do not think that staff has time between now and our packet to get this information prepared for council. So this would be brought forward to the city council in June at our first meeting.
I I don't know, it's probably out of line, but I see one of the proponents wants to come and say something. We give him, not another hour, but you can make.
Madam Chair, there's a motion on the floor right now, so we're not going to be accepting any comments. So the commission would need to take action on the motion that is on the table at this time.
Okay.
You gotta,
All in favor?
Yes, all in favor?
Yeah, all in favor of the motion
Aye.
Aye.
and all opposed.
Don't you also have to add the friendly,
She added that.
she added,
Okay.
it's been added.
so you just motion, you just agree once, okay, all right.
The motion will read that this commission strongly urges them to put up a barrier.
As the amendment, yeah.
That's the friendly amendment. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And I'll just speak for myself, and maybe she can speak now, but I just hope this doesn't die in the woods again, because it's just too doggone hard to go back how many years to correct something.
Staff will bring this to council.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want 1 minute to clarify one thing.
You get 1 minute.
I have always been fair, and everything that I provided tonight is a matter of public record. So to say to me that this is emotional because it's a family member is completely wrong and inappropriate. I felt this way when Mr. Moore came to us back in 2022. I advocated for Chestnut Creek, came back here and provided the history for that as well. So it does not matter whether somebody is a relative or not. I will do the right thing, and I will sleep well at night, and I expect an apology for you making an assumption that I am being biased because it is a relative of mine.
I understand, Ms. Steenblock, and I appreciate your perspective. I just want to make clear to this commission that I just want to make sure that we are working based off of the record, which is so important for all of us to do. And I will acknowledge that previously, when this former commission did bring this matter forward and made a motion providing direction and asking staff to complete a project, that motion should have been clarified at that time. And what should have happened at that time is that the motion was modified to then redirect, or I'm sorry, the motion should have been modified to recommend that that be brought to city council. That would have cleared it up right then and there. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So we just need to move forward. We need to look back at the historical documents, the records, the videos, and we need to just rectify this, and that's what we're going to do. But we need to do it outside of emotion.
Right.
And we had.
Absolutely.
We didn't have any emotion back then, because there was
Absolutely.
no new tenant.
I agree.
Agree, relation or not. Yeah, you can relive that whole thing again, but we don't have to. Let's just hope that this time it's clear, that it looked like a consensus here that everybody thought the city should do something, and that's what we're asking. So, after all of that, where are we? I lost my sheet. Here we go. You see, still emotional with me. Lakeside Boat Launch, we'll go right into another good Kawhi here.
Yeah?
Pardon me?
1 second, I'm just,
You click on it, and then you just shut it.
Boat launch is another fun thing.
Yeah, I know, we're getting right into another one.
I'm going to try to get out of this.
No whispering, I was taught that was bad manners.
You might have to hand this to me.
Boat launch is next, yeah, another fun one.
number 12?
Yep.
Yep.
So in March, if you remember Abby coming here and talking about the boat launch relocation and the shoreline restoration and all that work, and commission kind of gave feedback and said that before they could make a decision, it was a 3-3 tie of should we either move it or be in for it or not. So I think the commission said we should probably reach out and get get some more information from the public. So between myself, Kyle, and Abby, we kind of worked on what we feel is a pretty good way to try to get some information from a bunch of different groups about this. So really, it would be 3 targeted surveys, one towards boat launch users, one towards the general park users or the Lakeside Park users, and more specifically, and then one to the broader community. So for the boat launch users, one thing that the park rangers would do would start keeping documentation of how used that launch is, different times of the day, right, or different times of the week. How is it weekday mornings? How is it weekday nights? How are the weekends? All that, just to kind of a full summer's worth of when is it busy, when is it not busy, how busy is busy, type of a broader idea. The second planned idea would be to put a QR code right at the boat landing that would, I don't have the words for you, it somehow say we need your help, or we need your information about the boat launch. That QR code would ask questions like, how many times do you come to this lake? Is this the only boat launch you use for Forest Lake? Are you aware there's 2 other boat launches on Forest Lake? Would you support the boat launch being relocated? Would you support the boat launch leaving if it meant more park amenities? Things like that, about a 5-question survey geared towards the boating public. The second survey would be for Lakeside users. There'll be a QR code up by the beach house summer long, asking questions, same thing, but more geared to, would you like to see this park be expanded? Would you like to see a new band shell on the north end? Would you like to see areas for kayaking? Would you like to see a expanded dock, public dock area? Questions like that. We haven't narrowed down those questions exactly, but more geared towards the park, the Lakeside Park user themselves. Kyle will also have some Arts in the Park where he will have, poster board at Arts in the Park with maybe some push tabs of, hey, are you in favor of the boat launch being there? And you put pins there, and are you not, or some type of a thing, just to get as much feedback as you can get for people who use actual Lakeside Park. And the third survey would be more of a Facebook post, reaching out to a bunch of user groups. Hey, go to the website, there's a survey about, the city's looking at relocating this launch or possibly just eliminating this launch. What do you think? And basically the same kind of questions, maybe around the same kind of questions like that. That's kind of the idea. Really just looking for feedback. Is that what the commission was looking for as far as getting that type of survey or that information? Is there comments or suggestions on doing additional things? I guess just looking for feedback and then get this going.
What's the timing on this boat launch lease with the DNR?
What was it?
The end of that 20-year lease, what's the timing on that?
That is done with already. That was done in 2025. So now we're running without a maintenance agreement, and then it's basically, we're not held to any type of a contract or whatever.
One of the things that the 3 that, I was one of those that said no, not, or to leave it. We didn't have enough information about that other preferred spot. We didn't have the answer from that property owner. Is he going to allow that? And had we done any surveys in the neighborhood, if that's something that they think is going to be there? So, and the other 2, just one more thing, I'll let you all answer. When you put it on the beach house, and then you're asking about, do you want more park? Well, of course, that's going to come so screwed back. I think the questions have to all be the same. Do you like where the boat launch is now? Do you know there's others? Would you use others? But you start putting in a little caveat of, would you like a little more parkland? That was some of the things that the other 3 wanted on this commission, that they thought that would be a good idea. So I just think that one survey would come back. So
I think just saying you're gonna take away the boat launch and people think it's just gonna be more parking maybe, but if they knew that it was for a potential expansion of a facility or something, I think that weighs into whether or not they would want it, yes or no. I mean,
Well,
You know, maybe that should be on the bullet questions as well. Maybe they should be a little bit more uniform across. This is it, you know, and do you want us to take it away or, you know, move it, making sure that that's listed in there as
Or you
an
could do a
option.
did you know section.
Right.
yeah, because this has
On all of this
been,
at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Because again, to your point, 100%, people have to understand the whole picture.
yeah,
Just removing this or moving this does not give them a whole concept.
Have you heard any
So-
more from the landowner?
Yes.
We haven't reached out to the landowner because that decision hasn't been made yet.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to ask the question that, would you support, maybe the question would be, would you support this closing down if there was a relocated launch?
Access nearby.
Would you support it if there wasn't going to be a relocated launch? You can't, you know what I mean? We can't talk to the property owner and do all this stuff until, because what if the Parks Commission says we don't want to move the launch? Well, then you don't want to start getting into talks with buying land or any of that. So like Abby said, initially they reached out to the property owner to try to get a sense, and the property owner has never even responded.
Have you
So-
surveyed the businesses too?
so, well, so this was part of the downtown development
You got that ice
plan
cream store.
from
You got the
2022 or
restaurants that come
something,
off
wasn't
the
it?
lake.
Yeah, it's kind of an offshoot of that for that, it really kind of happened with how the shoreline keeps just getting destroyed every winter. And
So I think you need to kind of phrase it as, you know, this is what has been brought up to the public before, and we're taking another look at it, and then phrase your survey questions beyond that, because put a link to that development plan or that section of it in your QR code,
At the time, they were just asking.
because it's out
Yes,
there.
no, they weren't talking about anything proposed or anything that
Yeah.
might come. It was just a yes or a no. And it came back pretty clearly that, if I remember that right,
Because that,
that they wanted it to stay there.
Was that to close it down or to move it though? What was the question on the survey?
To move it, I thought, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Which
I don't
survey?
remember that
The
question.
one with the Bolton, when they did the wasn't Bolton, the
development plan?
downtown
oh,
plan. It was in.
there was three options.
Yeah.
If you were to relocate the boat launch, that was the selected areas, the one by Matson's funeral home like that.
That was on
Yeah.
the survey even back then?
There wasn't a survey for that. It was just, we identified three possible sites. That site was selected by the committee the steering committee of doing this whole shoreline restoration. And to your point, that's why, like I said, if it's in the park users, yes, you're gonna get it heavily weighed that. So that's why you wanna make sure have one for boat users and you wanna have a general public. So you don't wanna skew that, because I agree, if you have just a survey in the park, you're gonna have a lot different answers than boat users. So that's why
But would they have the same basic survey?
same basic survey, you're gonna probably have something different with the boaters, just because you're gonna wanna know where they're coming from, right? Do you live in Forest Lake, you know, or are you coming from somewhere else? Something like that, just to kind of get that idea. Is it heavily used by our own residents, or is it heavily used by people from other cities?
And I'm sorry if I didn't see where this was, but like, do we have a future park plan for Lakeside Park so people could see what potentially could go?
There's a concept in that shoreline restoration that shows new paths through there. It's basically kind of redoing that entire park with new walkways and new plantings.
I
And
think it'd be
then
helpful for people to see, right?
Yep.
Like the new band shell, if we really do go through it, because I
Yeah,
got to
and
see
it's
those
out there.
drawings and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So, you know, again, maybe pulling it all together
Yep.
with
And
that survey to say, here's what's possible if we do this, here's what's possible if we do this, or we leave it as it is, we go into another 20-year contract and the park stays the same for the next 20 years.
And here was the problem, because that was how the question was asked. And people were saying, well, okay, I can't make a decision if I want it to be moved or not. Where are you gonna move it to? Well, they didn't have
Yeah.
any, I don't think they had any sites where they were gonna move it, because people were in question about that.
well, I think I pulled up that link at one point, and I thought it was in there. I thought the locations were in there.
Well, and you
I
couldn't
can't-
put a location in there if you haven't even dealt with the property owner.
Yeah.
What if I would pick that one?
Or it was just like the city council,
Yeah, I
their
thought they
their
just,
opinions about what it was, what the sites were.
there's a
but,
lot of opinions.
I guess we just have to kind of revisit that. And I don't see any coordination with the Lake Association either. I don't know how important that is, but,
The Lake Association would tell you to shut it down today if they had their,
oh, yeah,
their
it's a
wishes, so.
different way of thinking, I suppose.
So, and I believe Abby told, I mean, the DNR doesn't want any fight in this game. They're completely fine with 2 accesses onto this lake, so they are fine if it gets closed down, or and they are fine if it stays there, or they are fine if it gets relocated. So they consider the 2 accesses enough public access for this lake.
But we
So-
do save money if we keep it there, that the DNR does do a lot of the maintenance.
So if we end up keeping it there, then we'd probably want to recommend entering another maintenance agreement with them and then have them redo the launch. That, or we would have to redo the launch ourselves.
But if we move it, do we not go into a maintenance agreement with them there, and then they do the maintenance there?
So
The
then,
new
that's a whole nother, I think Abby mentioned that, there's a whole lot of steps to this. And the first domino has to fall of what the city wants to do with that launch. Do they want to keep it there? Do they want to eliminate it? And if they do want to eliminate it, do they want to get another launch somewhere else? Or does the only way they would eliminate it is if they relocated it? And that's kind of where the council wanted to defer back to the commission, because the commission was not meeting at that point in time when this all came through.
It's so hard for me to remove the one with the biggest parking lot. Right? I go and I look at the other 2 launches, okay, fine, the one over on Third Lake, that one's great, there's still plenty of space there. But the 2 over by Pizza Pub, there's not many parking spaces, right? And so like I think about other lakes that I grew up around down in the cities. It's not like you can park your car and go walk around the lake to get back on and meet your friends at the boat launch, right? It would take them 45 minutes to walk,
So there's,
get on the lake.
there's 20 dedicated parking spots in
20?
Lakeside Park,
Okay.
yep. So there may be at times more parked there, but there's only 20 dedicated spots. And that was per the maintenance agreement when they got the funding to put that in, that they had to have 20 spots.
And that's the one by Pizza Pub.
No, that's the one at Lakeside.
That's the one right here. Okay.
Lakeside has 20 spots. If,
Okay.
there's some right by the landing, there's some farther up by Second, and then a couple kind of right by the pharmacy there.
Okay.
Would it be a good idea to have?
So recommendations, do you like the 3 areas where we're trying to get information from? First of all, do you like boat users, lakeside users, and then general public?
Yeah.
Recommendation would be to try to get the questions more in line, so you're asking more of the same questions to all users with a few caveats of trying to get some information, like
Expanded information.
even at the
from
park,
fishing.
where are you coming from? Are you a resident? Are you from out of town?
Yes,
Try to catch a little more information to get a perspective of when they make their answers of how they kind of fit in.
yep.
And then not put any particular spot down to where you would be thinking it would go, because that would be wrong to have it on a,
It'd be a little premature.
yeah, and then I vote for all that, and pretty soon it's like, nope, we're.
Yep, I don't think you want to make that promise. I think you could say a relocation possibly, would you support it if it's relocated somewhere near downtown or somewhere on First Lake or so, word it like that. I do like the picture with the concepts. I think that would be a great idea for the arts in the park, whereas poster boards would kind of show this is the concept of a new park if the landing wasn't here. I think it's hard to do that on a survey, to try to put pictures inside of a survey, but I think that would be great for arts in the park if you had some poster boards and showed that concept.
And have the QR code right there
Yeah.
for
Yep.
people there to take the,
Well, to me, it'd be an all-over done deal
Yep.
then, because of course, you're gonna get tons and tons of people at the park, and they're all gonna want the same thing.
Yep, but you have a lot of boat users too, so you're hoping that when they're there, they click the QR code, and as they're waiting to go in or taking out, that they're
And they
answering
have to
too.
talk to that ranger every time they come out of the lake. They can't not talk to the ranger. So did you hear where they're talking about this boat launch, moving this,
Okay.
closing or moving this boat launch?
Yep.
Take this, they're gonna
So
take.
Kyle's worked with the watershed, and they will, once we get the QR code, they will be telling them, hey, there's a QR code there, there's talks of moving this landing. So I think you're gonna get people who want that landing there, or have an opinion on one way or the other, are going to respond.
There's somebody sitting there all day watching.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know, but I'm just talking about the other one. There are people sitting there, how many Tuesdays for the summer, that are wanting to have more parkland. Why would they say no?
Well, right, but there's a lot of voters, Karen.
Well, there was 3 people on this commission that didn't want more
There's a lot of
parkland.
them. They're gonna give their 2 cents.
I mean, to be fair, right, it tied 3-3, that even 3 commissioners didn't want more parkland. They wanted to keep the boat landing right there. So I mean, you can't just assume people at Lakeside Park are gonna want more parkland. They may like the feel of how it is right now with the landing there.
Yeah,
The big thing was not knowing about that part, we were asked to decide something and the property owner hadn't even given permission yet. And how can you do that? You couldn't.
And it's chicken and egg, right? You can't make that decision before you make this decision. I completely understand what you're saying, but you can't start pursuing, looking at buying
it's just kinda
property until you know that
introduced
that's
Yeah,
the
that- I
answer.
mean, I'm just saying that was what was from last time.
Is the launch used when they have the boat races, and is it used when they have the snowmobile races and things like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
So is there any way of contacting those people to get a feel? Because obviously, you know, the boat races is bringing another segment of the population as is the snowmobile races.
I don't think you need to read it out to them to know what their answer is. I think you would just know that they either want it there or relocated downtown. I think you would add that maybe in your feedback of when we bring the survey results back, just knowing that there's X amount of events here. You know, if you didn't have a boat launch there at all, those events probably would not happen.
the boat racers would probably like it, cause the camping would be better at a
Yep.
different location
Yep.
than downtown right there. The boats wouldn't be sitting right there.
So he's looking for a motion
Just
to,
the survey, the targeted people that we're gonna ask.
yeah, to get, if those people that he mentioned would be enough to start a survey, and maybe this questions could come back
And the rest of the plan.
before the actual plan takes off or not. You can make your decision, whoever wants to
Yeah,
make a
'cause we
motion
need
one way or
to-
the other.
So you'd like to see the survey questions before it goes out. You like this plan, but you'd like to see us come back in the June meeting to show you the survey questions.
Yeah, if that'd be possible.
Yeah.
Do we have the visuals at that meeting too, that we're discussing?
The
The
concepts?
options? Like the options that'll be
They were
presented?
just talking about the one at the park, to show
Oh, okay.
extended
Okay,
park.
okay, I got you.
But then if we wait till June, then we're missing Arts in the Park.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are we starting June 17th, is that correct? It's not the first Tuesday in June?
No, it's, yep, it's.
I believe it's, I can't remember, Mr.
16th or
Steve, it's probably
17th. I
second.
got it.
I think it's the 17th.
Here somewhere.
So that'll be the day before our meeting.
First one is the 16th.
Okay.
So you're,
What you want to do?
so you like the user groups, you like,
Yep.
you like to try to have a better survey questions being more along line with everybody, but then you do want it to come back to the June meeting to get your blessing for these are the questions.
If the questions
Yes.
were all pretty generic to each other, I'm fine with it. I just, if you're
Yeah,
gonna have
okay.
one say this and one say that and the other one say that, then I'm gonna have a different
Yeah, I think
opinion
they
on
should
it.
all be the same for all users.
Yep.
Expand them so that you get the,
I think the
so
city.
make a recommendation with the 3 different places for doing the survey, but with a more unified type of survey of questions, gathering that information of where they're coming from and all the things, but making sure that they're all asked, you know, about the additional park space and, does it make sense?
Is that a motion?
That's my motion.
And you want it brought back here, that's just
Nope,
go ahead and
we're okay
put out
with
the
you.
survey?
Put it out there.
Okay.
I think we,
Yeah, I don't need
as
to
long as
review
we have
questions.
it, love
Yeah.
that.
I'm just gonna not have the additional park spot, only in one spot.
No, it's gonna be in all of them.
And yeah,
So then they can, the
That's-
voters can say no.
well, they,
Once we get feedback from the,
it's okay. It's
Surveys.
gonna go anyway. That's fine. I think it's gonna be skewed a lot, but I might be way wrong.
Did someone second your motion?
Tim
Tim?
did?
Any more discussion? We've had quite a bit. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? I'm gonna prove you wrong after it's done.
Okay. All right. Bring it.
Anyway, we're down finally to staff updates, and we have one staff. Does he have an
I
update?
have a whole sheet from Kyle, so.
All right.
Buckle up. I got that. Arts of the Park contracts were approved by city council, so all that's good to go, all the music events. Memorial Day event, that is obviously on Memorial Day. There's a flyer right outside here if you want to grab one, otherwise it's on the city's Facebook page. If you notice, the memorial is all done. They're sodding it tomorrow morning. Public Works did the East Broadway roundabout now, so that has the plantings and the new pots in there, so that it looks, new sod, it looks great if you turn off of Broadway now, so whether or not you go to Memorial, they take a spin down there and take a look. It's fantastic. Everything's done except for the sculpture, which will be in
Walk down
next
there.
year.
If you haven't been to the memorial service, I strongly suggest
Yeah.
attend.
They're dedicating a lot of pavers this year, so a lot were bought because of this project, so it'll be a pretty big event, and it'll be another big event next year when the sculpture is in place.
And it's also gonna have food trucks and some music,
And music.
I believe so, yep.
and then they're gonna have a miniature replica of what it's gonna look like, so you can see it there. So it should be a good day for the veterans and for the city to all go down there and pay attention.
Another Arts in the Park, has 56 total approved vendors. There were a total of 139 applicants for all the spots, so there's a lot of interest in being a vendor at Arts in the Park. So he's working through the final ones of getting everybody set for that first Arts in the Park. Outdoor athletics field study, if you remember, recommending approval for that, beginning of the year to work with the school district and study of all the open spaces, ball fields, soccer fields, all of that, and fee schedule and all that. So that's working through. That should be on your July commission meeting to be recommended for approval in line with the Parks Master Plan. That will be included as an appendix inside of that master plan to guide us for future decisions for when Steven shows up. If we want to put a soccer field or not, that study will say we should probably add something or not add something or any of that kind of stuff. So they've met with all the user groups, which is great. They've met with baseball, soccer, lacrosse, the school district, community ed, public works staff, their maintenance staff, so it's very well-rounded of the information they're gathering. And then, the Parks Commission tour, that was brought up a little bit earlier, so he was just gonna bring that up, that we're in the works of doing that, but we will be continuing on the works of that to add that in. Kyle is working on, with the sculpture for tours of that. He knows there's a lot of outreach and people wanting to go and take a tour of the bronzing and putting that together, so he just wanted to mention that. He's taking in people who want to see it, and he's working with the sculpture to, when these times, they can come in and check that out. So if anybody's watching or anyone on the commission wants to check that out, just reach out to Kyle and make sure you're on that list for a tour. I think that's it. I skipped a couple of things because you didn't need to tell you about that stuff. We got enough of it. That should be everything.
All righty. Why don't we start with Mo? Do you have any update?
No, I think we've covered everything I could think of.
Not
Him?
me. Nope.
Nothing for me.
Yeah, nothing to me, just to encourage people to go down to the Memorial Day celebration. 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock for the ceremony and 10 o'clock for the
Music and
Perfect.
other stuff.
Thank you.
you're fine. We need a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Good job, only.